What's going on, everybody? What is happening? Happy Saturday to you guys. Appreciate you for tuning in as always. Um, it's crazy to me. I think the funniest thing about life is that you think you can do everything uh to the best of your ability. You just follow, okay, so this is not good. So what do I got to do to fix it? So you try to fix it, and then you still see issues. I don't understand it. I don't get it. For example, I think I've already kind of given you guys a spiel about me trying to make my internet broadcast quality better. I've spent more money on it. I've upped my package. Pause. um, I have, changed my setup. I've switched my connection. Been doing this show for almost 2 years wirelessly. I've switched to a wired connection right now. And yet, for some reason, StreamYard still gives me that signal string going up and down. And I'm like, what's going on? I don't listen, man. I don't know, guys. I don't get it. I'm trying, man. I'm trying my best out here. It's just weird. I hope that even though it's showing me that signal strength that might be going up and down at some points, that on your end, you guys are still seeing a consistent stream. I'm hoping. Hope StreamYard has some internal mechanisms that allow it to correct the stream and make it come through a certain way. I'm hoping, but just understand, guys, it's not for lack of trying. I'm trying. I don't know. I don't get it. Oh, almost forgot. Got to get that morning cup of Joe or Joanne. It's iced today, which is fantastic. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in and rocking with me. I know I'm a little tardy, but it's tough on Saturday mornings to put this stuff together because some Saturday mornings is no big deal. The other Saturday morning is like, yo, I was supposed to do this. How am I going to do this? Can I do it later today? What's the time? What time do they close? How do I mean? That's what starts going through my head when I'm doing all this stuff. So sometimes I'm a little tardy, guys. Y'all got to bear with me because I'm figuring it out. Then I'm like, in some cases, I'm ready for the show. I'm about to sit down. I didn't eat. I might be sitting here for 2-3 hours, sometimes 4 or 5 hours, and I didn't eat. Damn it. So anyway, that's the type of stuff that be going through my head at this time. Anyway, hopefully you guys are doing great. Good to see y'all as usual. Let's look what's popping in the chat. Oh man, salute, shout out to Geraldine McIver, the first lady of Still Knick fans. Appreciate you as always. Thank you for being with us. Oh man, starting off early, bro. Salute, Walter Blackman Jr. Thank you for the generous super chat, brother. I appreciate you. I'm assuming since it's Saturday and usually you're here before work, I'm assuming you're at work right now. If I'm correct, you can let me know. Hopefully you're having a good day, and hopefully the day goes quick if you are at work. But thank you as always, man. Like I said, you don't have to do it, but I appreciate it. And it helps in situations like this when I'm trying to figure out if I got to put more money to better internet quality for you guys. So I don't know what else I can do. One of the subscribers did reach out to me. And I'm sorry if I'm blanking on your name. And one thing you should know about me is that I'm not great with names. I'm fantastic with faces. I don't forget faces. And I don't know what that's about. It scares me sometimes. I'm like, when I get old, am I going to get Alzheimer's? Like, what's happening? I'm like, oh, what's happening here? But salute to you. You know who you are. He gave me some good advice about my internet, my router. He said that there was a new router that they're offering that has much better signal strength, which I think I just got. But he also said that I might need them to come and take like a test on my wiring, make sure there's no drops or there's any any leakage, like just like if you had a tire that's leaking air, you know, the wires could be leaking, and so you're not getting the full strength and stuff of that nature. So yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you once again. If I remember the name, I'll definitely shout you out, because I appreciate you sending me that comment. But thanks again, Walter. Appreciate you, brother. Salute to Savage NYC in the building. I appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. JJ is in the building. What's good? Happy Saturday. D's World of Hoops. Peace and prosperity, my brother. Salute to you. Salute to you. Jean-Marc is in the building. What's good, Jean-Marc? How you doing, man? Hope everything's good for you and yours. Danny Landis is in the building. And hey, once again, I already did it, I think on the day of, but once again, wishing you a happy birthday, Danny. I know your birthday just passed, so I hope you had a great day. I hope it was fantastic. I know the weather's nice to have your birthday in the summer, so that's good. Hopefully you enjoyed yourself. And this should be the Danny Landis birthday weekend, huh? So you should be having a good time. At least hopefully you are. Shout out to Canal Band Lauya in the building. What's good, brother? How you doing, man? Hey, DSJ is in the building. Delano Steele Jr. in the house. What's good, bro? Keith Turner is in the building. Salute, brother. Appreciate you. King Poppy, what's good? Appreciate you, man. This guy, what's up, man? What's up, John? My partner in crime. What's going on, brother? Hope you're doing good on this Saturday morning. Well, and there you go. Look at that. Delano Steele says, where's John? Still Knicks fans this morning. Well, it looks like he's right there. Right there in the chat with you. Sincere, what's good? Appreciate you, man. How you doing? Be civilized in the building. What's good, brother? Oh, well, you got that early riser shift, huh? 6 to 6. Oh, and it's a 12 spot too. You working. Appreciate you, man. Shaw Powers in the building. What's good, man? What's good? Make sure you tell Divine next time you guys do the show that I said hello in person. Like, tell him that I said it to him, man. I appreciate Divine a lot, man. And I'm hoping that we all get together when the season starts, maybe opening day or one of the games throughout the season. But hopefully maybe it's the opening one. We all get together and chop it up again, man. It was dope seeing you in person, Shaw. It was dope meeting Divine in person. So I'd love to do that again, man. Appreciate y'all. Shout out to Enzo. What's good, bro? How you doing, man? Appreciate you as always. Deshaun Wilson is in the building. What's good, Deshaun? Ashley Inc. is in the building. And yes, happy birthday to Danny once again. What's good, Allah Wise? Peace, brother. Appreciate you. I always want to, every so often, I want to give a shout out to some of the day ones. When we first started the show, I mean, the subscriber count was real small. You know how it is when you start anything in life. It's always going to be slim pickings. But, in the beginning, and if I missed y'all know who you are. You can shout yourself out and I'll acknowledge it. But I just always want to shout out the day ones who showed us love in the beginning when we were having like 5, 6, 10, maybe 15 subscribers, if that. If that. We had like 9 viewers a lot of times, appreciate you, Allah Wise. Appreciate you, Be Civilized. Big Task at Hand. First Lady of Still Knicks Fans. That's why she got that moniker. Geraldine McIver. Bodega Wi-Fi. Knicks 100. Appreciate you. Yeah, you know, like I said, I might miss some people, but you know, they know who they are, man. I appreciate them rocking with us for so long. Thank you. Well, it's good. Sam Grandison in the building. Appreciate you, brother. Hope you're doing good. You know, man, you're the next future leader of America, man. We need you to be out there doing your thing, and I know you will. So I'm hoping for the best for you, brother. You deserve it. Salute to Visions. Appreciate you, man. Always good to see you, bro. All right. Oh man, I think we good. I think we good. All right, man. So yeah, appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for being here, rocking with me this morning. As always, let me take another sip of this. Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff. Yeah, man. Y'all see it? Y'all saw the thumbnail. Y'all know what this show is about. We're talking about Donovan Mitchell again. Yeah, we are. And I'm at the point where I'm saying to myself, I think we got to get this done, man. I know I've said it before, but I really feel like we got to get this done. I really feel like we got to get this done. And I understand the Knicks position, Leon Rose and everybody. I'm with them on that. Salute to Kerry Cox. Shout out, brother. Appreciate you, man. And I'm with them. Like, I don't want to get fleeced either. I don't want Danny Ainge coming at us with this whole thing that he can get whatever he wants because he's Danny Ainge. What? No. Let's not forget, as successful as you know, Danny Ainge was in putting together that Boston squad over there, Danny Ainge got up out of there too because things got a little rough. He ain't the guru. He's a smart guy, and he has a nice plan of how to put together a team. And so far, I would say it's been working, you know. But the difference for Boston wasn't just the acquisition of talent that Danny Ainge put together. It's also the pieces that were put together after he put together the core. It was the complementary pieces that were added, and most importantly, it was that coach. The coach is a big difference in the way they. There's no knock on their old coach. Like I told you guys before, I'm not good with names, but you know who it is. He's moved up into the front office. And I gotta start looking stuff up, man. I'm sorry, man. I don't like talking about people not knowing their names. But yeah, I think that the coach is huge, and you know, the complementary pieces that they added to go with that core makes a huge difference. And then them buying into his system allowed, you know, for the Boston players to, you know, to get the best out of them. And so Danny Ainge can provide all of that. He can give you a little blueprint, turn your franchise around. I think he can turn the Jazz around. He can get them on the right track. He can build a new core, but he's not going to be the one to lead you to the promised land. That's going to be, I mean, it could be if he stays packed and stays patient. He's very good at breaking it down and building it up. But what does he do when he has it built up? How can he sustain it? And that's what we haven't seen Danny Ainge do yet. So that's my thing. Like, you know, he ain't a guru, at least not until he does that. Then we could say, like, if he turns Utah around and gets them to the championship and they win, then Danny Ainge is one of the best ever. Okay, but he's not there yet. Brad Stevens, thank you, Sam. That's why you're a future leader of America, man. I believe in you, and I support this message. Oh man, salute, shout out to Cormega. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, so like that's the type of thing that I'm saying. Like, there's no reason that the Knicks have to bend over backwards for Danny Ainge to get what he wants just because we want Donovan Mitchell. There is a way to get Donovan Mitchell. You just have to be creative with your thought process and figure out a way to kind of get other people involved, maybe a third team. In essence, what we've seen with this, you know, this three-team possible trade with the Knicks, Lakers, and Utah. And let me preface this out. Like, when I'm saying this whole thing and what this show is about today primarily, it's all a hypothetical, because I know that the rumors and everything that's floating around is old. I'm aware of that. None of this is new. This didn't happen this week or the last couple days or 2 weeks ago, or even 3 weeks ago. This probably is a month ago. The point is, this to me is the way you get it done. But we'll get into it. Let's chop it up in a little bit. You know what? Let me just hit y'all with the intro real quick, and then we'll come back and get into it. That sounds good. I'm with that. Yes, sir, and ladies, we are back. Appreciate you guys once again. Salute to Marlon Khan. There you go, my guy. Thank you. Appreciate you, Marlon Khan. Thank you for giving me that information, brother. Yeah, I'm gonna have them come out and take a test of my situation and see what's going on, brother. I'm a little worried because there's some information that I didn't have a chance to kind of go back and forth with you with. But where I live, you know, the wires and all this stuff, the way they got it set up over here, the main, I guess, access point or pole or whatever goes through somebody's backyard, right? And the person's backyard, I don't know if they're never there or if it's, it's a house that was owned by somebody and they just keep paying the rent on, but no one can ever get to the person who owns the house, so they can never get to the backyard. I've tried multiple times. Other people in the building have tried multiple times, and on the block have tried. So my worst fear is that the issue is coming from that mainline hookup, and that stuff needs to be changed because it's old and maybe there's a problem from that access point and they can't change it. And that's the biggest issue. So even if they find some deterioration, degradation, I think you mentioned, with my line, they may not even be able to do much to it because that main access point may be causing the problem. And honestly, guys, the funny thing is, if you're just streaming, video or something, like you have a Fire Stick or Apple TV or all that stuff, you don't notice the issue. It's when you're trying to put on a podcast and you're streaming content, that's when it becomes an issue. That's when the signal strength is needed more. It's so annoying. Anyway, but thank you once again, Marlon Khan. I appreciate that information, brother. I'm glad you're here this morning tuning in, and I'm able to give you that shout out, man, because that's pretty dope of you to reach out to me like that. OCD Shaggy is in the building. What's going on, brother? Appreciate you. Did I mention Bodega Wi-Fi? If I didn't, I'm mentioning you again. I don't care because you deserve it, brother. You deserve multiple mentions. You are a dope dude and one of the best mods in the business. That's why everybody loves you being a mod for their show, because you definitely take care of everybody. You're always doing stuff on without people asking. Like, I can't give you enough praise, brother. I appreciate you. All right. Yeah, I think I shouted out everybody. Oh, and Steven Mendez. I think I said that already. I feel like, see, that's the thing. You start saying these names like, did I say that already? But anyway, if I didn't, Steven Mendez, appreciate you, brother. And if I did, whatever, it's cool. Let me throw the link in the chat. And guys, definitely don't be afraid if you want to jump on the show and lend your voice, add your 2 cents. If there's something you want to talk about, feel free, man. It's okay. You can jump on the show. I feel like I've noticed lately, I'm watching some other shows and there's people who support this show and support the other shows, and I see them pop out like I've never seen them before, and they show themselves. I want y'all to feel comfortable showing yourself here too. I don't want this, you to feel like you don't have a voice here. You can always, I mean, I appreciate you guys commenting and putting stuff in the chat, but definitely feel like if you want to jump on the panel, it's okay. It's no problem. As long as you're respectful of the platform, you come with good takes. You're not like belligerent or, cursing profusely or some crazy thing like that. I don't care. You could always come up and talk on the show, and we will support your takes and what you have to say, and we'll develop a conversation behind it. But definitely feel comfortable to say whatever you want and come on the show. I hear you, King Poppy. Nah, B. Listen, if you ever feel like it, and I'm just because I'm saying it doesn't mean you got to jump on now. But if you feel comfortable jumping on, you want to say a couple things, even if you don't want to stay, even if, hey, you say, listen, I just want to jump on, say something to everybody, and I wanted to throw a question out there and see what you guys feel about it. But that's it, man. I'm just gonna fall back in the cut. That's fine too. You don't have to feel like you got to stay on the show as long as I'm here. Just, you could just come in and bounce out, whatever makes you feel comfortable. Baby steps. I mean, I'm good, man. I'm cool with it either way. I just want you guys to feel comfortable enough to jump on. Because sometimes I think, when you guys are up here on the chat and you're watching, like, don't get me wrong, the people that I get on the show, the panel, I mean, these, solid people. They always have good takes and the conversation is great and I appreciate them. And sometimes I feel like, because the conversation is good and it's flowing so well, some people feel like, hey, there's no need to jump on, man. These guys are saying everything I want to say, or I agree with them. No, you always have a right, and feel free to come on and jump in and say what you want to say. I'm here for it. Right. Yeah. Okay. Sure I am, Parrish. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Funny guy. Look at this. First one in the building. And you know what? Who better than to get Danny Landis in the building, the birthday boy. I mean, birthday man. And when was your actual birthday? Yesterday?
The 3rd.
Oh, the 3rd.
Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's really all right. Well, appreciate you, man, and happy belated birthday.
Thank you, my man. Someone wants to say hello. Say good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, what's going on?
He's playing with his computer. This Nintendo Switch, he broke this again. You know the Nintendo Switch, right?
Oh, yeah.
3rd time he broke it because he gets a little carried away when he loses. And he starts banging on it and stuff. So I have insurance with a Surion. You break, I fix.
Oh,
so
okay.
I had to fill out stuff on emails yesterday so I can get. Maybe they're gonna send me a new one for $99.
Oh man, well listen. That's good that you got that insurance, but he's got to get out of that. Can't keep breaking everything, man, because that follows you in life.
Tell him that.
It starts with a Nintendo Switch, man.
Not trying to.
Yeah, you gotta just control your emotions, and believe me, you're a young fan. When you get older, your team is gonna stress you out. You're gonna want to break everything.
That's it. Thanks, Ron.
Oh, who is this guy? I didn't even recognize him. He's an outlaw. I'm gonna get him in here in a minute.
So, Ron, what do you think about this 3-team thing? You think it has legs to it, or do you think it's just all talk, rumors again?
I
don't believe anything anymore, to be honest. Everything that's coming out, I think, is all baloney.
Well, you know what? I think that's a good question to ask, Danny. I think we'll get into that in 1 second. Hold on. I'm going to get right into that.
All
First
right.
off, let me say shout out to my guy, Marvin. Perspective from the other side. Appreciate you. Hey, Marvin, what's listen, man. You've been taking a back seat for a minute. Where you at? Get yourself up in here, man, if you ain't busy. It's been a minute, man. I miss chopping it up with you, Marvin. Salute to D Coolest 718. Victor Vivera in the building. Sherwin is here. What's going on, Sherwin? And I'm curious, why you dropped the M? Did people think it was Sherwin Mad? Because I don't think it's Sherwin Mad. I think it's just Sherwin M. I just wondered about that, why you dropped the M, man. Appreciate you, though. And for the last time, Sherwin, I do not hate Julius Randle. I just like Obi, but I don't hate Julius Randle. Our future media is in the building. Okay. All right. And No Cap Sports Talk. Appreciate you. Good to see you. Okay. All right. So, hey, man, happy birthday to you as well, Marvin. It's his birthday week also. He says he's in a meeting, but he's going to try to step in when he has a second. All right. Well, you know what? Let me know. I'll try to pay attention to the chat. If you need the link, holla at me. But definitely, man, do what you got to do, man. Enjoy yourself and take care of your business, man. Appreciate you. All right, let's get my guy in here. Hey.
Oh, yo.
Hey, there he is.
Hello.
What's going on?
What's up, guys?
I see you look a little different from the last time I saw you.
Yeah,
somebody got the haircut.
I was done. Shout out to the females out there that have that long hair that have to maintain it every week, and it's a bitch, bro. I'm sorry to curse. It's a bee, bro.
No, I hear you. I couldn't imagine, bro, especially in this heat.
It was bad, yo. I was done. Yo.
Yeah, I never have to really worry about that.
I know.
I don't need to chop it off. It does its own thing. I don't know. Every morning I wake up, it's the same.
I think Danny had a fro back in the days, bro. I would like to see that picture, bro.
Yeah, I can see that too. That might be interesting. Sam in the building. What's going on, Sam?
What's going on, guys? Now, y'all see, this is why I don't have my picture on, because I don't have the confidence of D to show my bald head now. So, I'm gonna let y'all believe I still got the locks.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna believe it. You're too young not to have that hair still.
No, I got a little fro going, but it's not the locks that y'all see in the picture.
Okay. Brooklyn Buddha is in the building. What's going on, Brooklyn Buddha? Okay, so a happy Saturday morning to all you gentlemen. Danny asked a question about the teeth of this whole 3-team trade thing, if there's any legs to it, if I believe in it or what have you. And I will tell you that I believe that it was something that they heavily considered. I don't believe it's currently on the table right now. And you know what? Matter of fact, do I have this? Oh shoot, I got to get it. But anyway, let me pull it up. I know most people already know what it is, but let me pull it up, for people, if I can freaking find it. But anyway, the whole point is, I think there's some teeth to it at the time, but I think that we've kind of moved past that point. I think the Knicks and Utah were already talking about other scenarios before they decided to stop talking about anything and take a break. But to me, I personally think that is the way to get this trade done. I think that is the way that most people will be happy. I think the Knicks fans in general will be happy because you may not have to part with everybody you thought you would have to part with the youth. The amount of picks may not be the same, or if they are the same, it won't all be coming from the Knicks. You can filter in whatever the Lakers might have in order to, for them to get some players back that they can use now in effort to continue with their championship run. The Jazz would get that expiring contract of Westbrook, and the Knicks can get Donovan Mitchell, and not feel like they're getting fleeced, giving up 4 players and 6 picks or something of that nature. I think that really, I was agreeing with somebody in the chat on one of the shows who said, I don't really want to help the Lakers out. I don't either, but if the Lakers are helping me, then I'm doing it. So, that's the way I look at it. If we scratching each other's backs or whatever, what's the damn term? You scratch my back, I scratch. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. If we doing that, I'm good with it. Let's go. Listen, we'll give you, I'll give you Derrick Rose or Evan Fournier or something like that, and maybe a Deuce McBride, someone that I'm okay with parting with, But I ain't giving the Lakers Quentin Grimes or Obi Toppin. I'm not doing that.
No,
it would have to. Nope, not doing it.
You know what's crazy though, Ron, about that? And I've been thinking about this recently. That your boy, Coach, I won't name him by what I call him by, but right. He's not gonna want to get rid of Derrick Rose. So maybe you have to, give him a little caring gift to, soothe his pain once you ship off Derrick Rose, because he's
care package.
Too much. He's not gonna like that too much.
I don't doubt that. That is definitely a possibility. Yeah, I think you might have to do something like that just to get him to be comfortable with what you're trying to do, because he loves him some Derrick Rose.
You can't ship off his first love without condoning him after.
You might be right about that.
Derrick Rose loves him too.
Well, that's true too.
It's a mutual thing.
Think about it too, guys, which I know a lot of people know this, but like when he was on the Jazz, that's basically when people thought his career was dead. I don't think he wants to go back there, if I'm being honest, unless they're gonna buy him out and then he goes somewhere else.
Does anybody want to go to Utah?
No.
That's the thing. That is a good question. Does anybody want to go to Utah?
I don't think so. Doesn't look good. Everybody's looking to get out of Utah. One-way tickets going.
I heard they have a very exciting city life there. Maybe I'll try it out.
I mean, it's definitely a beautiful place to go to relax, to unwind, do some nice things, get one with nature. The air probably smells clean. You can do some fun things. It's like a place you go, just unwind, relax, it's a retreat.
Like the wildlife and you like skiing and stuff like that, then go ahead.
But I don't know if you want to live there, especially if you come from a big city. That's a big change. So, but anyway, shout out to Utah. Appreciate y'all out there.
Shout out to Utah.
Cash out James, gold all in my. Anyway, what's good, man? Appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in as always. There was some Paris in the building.
Paris has a talking point for us.
Yeah.
if you would.
Yeah.
Thank you, Parrish. Appreciate your contributions always. That's the real stuff.
OCD Shaggy in the building. Let me see here. There was a name I had. I don't know. Anyway, it'll come back to me. Big Mike, that's it. Big Mike, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. And I felt like that we were going to have another guest that was trying to get in. Hopefully everything's good. He can come back in here because it's always rare. We're both here on a Saturday.
Hey, Ashley,
maybe I gave it away.
Ashley, you're hilarious. I forgot about the Mormon thing.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, Ashley Inc. That's I guess that's a benefit of Utah, right?
It's an attractive selling point.
Right. Anyway, okay, let's pop this up on the screen because this is what we're talking about for those who may not be aware, which I'm sure most of you guys are. So, according to Hoops Hype's Michael Scotto, reports the Knicks have had three-way trade discussions with the Jazz and the Los Angeles Lakers, and yes, Russell Westbrook is involved. The Lakers, Knicks, and Jazz discussed a three-team trade with Donovan Mitchell landing in New York, Patrick Beverley, and another key Jazz player to the Lakers, Russell Westbrook on the move, and draft picks to Utah, wrote Scotto. Once again, as I said before, guys, I understand that this is a scenario that popped up on the radar about 3 weeks to a month ago. So it's not brand new. It's not a fresh take. It's just Mr. Scotto here thought it was interesting and thought it was something that the Knicks and Jazz and maybe the Lakers should all revisit because it does make a lot of sense if you can work it right. And I agreed with him. And shout out to Charlotte from Let's Talk Knicks on Twitter. She had a space last night, and she actually had Michael Scotto in the space, and they were talking about this. And someone, I believe it was a gentleman by the name of Mo on Twitter, mentioned to Michael Scotto that he didn't want to be disrespectful, but was this something that he was just bringing up because he wanted to use it as an angle to bring up discussion, because it's not something that seems to be prevalent right now. It's not a new take. It's something that's already been out there. And Michael Scotto said, yes, that's the case. He just thought that it was a really good scenario that probably should be revisited. It is an old take. It was something they discussed about a month ago or so. So yeah, and shout out to Mo for putting Michael Scotto on the hot seat. And once again, one more shout out to Charlotte from Let's Talk Knicks, because in that same space, she also had Farron Hunt came into the building and was in the space talking, chopping it up with people. So that was pretty cool.
Oh,
Dope
nice.
for her.
You know what's crazy about that run is like I actually used to do, man, how's it going, John? I actually used to do like help Charlotte out with the spaces like not too long ago before I got super busy. So
Oh, really?
yeah, she's a good person, man. She's dope.
Yeah, man. She seems like a really cool person. I didn't have much interaction with her, but I jumped in a couple of her spaces before. She seemed really cool, and she knows her stuff. And I know what she's trying to do and build over there. And then we had her on the show a couple of weeks ago, and John and I got to chop it up with her. It was a good conversation. So yeah, I'm wishing her the best, man. I know she's gonna grow over there because she's passionate.
Yeah, she's good people and she has good intentions.
Cool.
I like that background, John. It's fire. Bro.
Yeah, where you get that?
Appreciate that. I just be finding stuff on the net, man.
With it.
Okay, so hey, how are you,
fellas?
John?
Good, bro. What's up with you?
Fans, I appreciate you being here.
Chilling. Yeah, I'm sorry I had to jump out before. My little ones were acting crazy, so I had to like quiet them down a bit and then
Gotcha.
come back to it.
Well, it's definitely good to see you, brother. It's always nice to chop it up with you on the weekend for however long we got you, man. You know, I see you on Monday and I'm like, I think that's enough. And then I see you on Thursday. I'm like, damn it. But now Saturday too. Come on, brother.
I'm trying to be like you, Ron. I'm trying to be in these streets.
Yeah, man. Anyway, so Danny posed the question, and you know what? This is a good idea right now. Good time for this. So I'm sorry, Danny, because maybe if you have another question, I'll allow you to do that again. But I'm gonna use your question right now as my guinea pig. Follow the leader, folks. Each guest gets to ask one question to the entire panel. Danny, that could be yours, or if you got another one. But we're all going to chime in on this question anyway because it's very relevant. So what do you think, D, about, the teeth to this trade scenario? Even if it is old, do you think it's something that they should revisit? Does it make sense to you that they should explore it at all?
One thing that I read about the proposal was that the Knicks were reluctant to give up the 5 picks because what was going to happen was that LA, right? And this is funny. They're doing this for LA.
Right.
But LA only wants to give up 2 draft picks. It's like, yo, come on, bro.
Nothing.
And then they were gonna put it on the Knicks for the 4 or 5 unprotected or the 6 unprotected. Knicks are like, we ain't down with that. So shout out to the front office for using their brain and understanding that there is some great talent coming in 23, 24. There's some really good guys, man, really good perimeter players that I'm really going to keep my eye on. They know the deal, bro. They're not getting up those draft picks like that, man. Oh, so it would have been done already.
I agree with that. Interesting. What do you think, Sam? What's your take on it?
I'm actually cool on that offer, and I'm gonna use something that one of the guys I used to watch too, Raw. Shout out to him. He always says this, the Knicks, they're not on that powder anymore. We're not that same front office who's going to make these dumb trades just because. Like, maybe if we had Isaiah Thomas or somebody in the office still, maybe that trade would have gotten done. But, these guys are actually using their brains, and they think a lot more before they actually pull the trigger or even enter conversation. So, when you look at the trade in its full scope, I'm not really a fan of it. And I kind of look at it from the perspective of, okay, let's say we do get the Donovan Mitchell here, right? I'm not going to give up all those picks because let's say we do give up, the 23s, 25. So you don't want to go to 27, 29 route because you need those picks, whether or not you're going to draft a player or if you're going to use those picks, those first rounders to trade to get another guy here who might, not want to be where he's at now. So I'm not a fan for just giving up all of those picks, knowing that we all know we still need another player after this trade. So it makes no sense to do so.
Indeed.
What do you think, John? What's your take on it? And that's a good point, Sam.
Yeah, I'm on the same page, man. I'm just excited that the front office is finally making the right strides to protect what we have and what we own, and not just giving it up for nothing. You know what I mean? So it's finally here. We're finally starting to see a respectable front office deciding things and making things change and happen. Again, a lot of what we discussed a year or two ago was sort of can we trust in this front office? And right now, for our fans, all the fan base, they should be excited because we're not just pulling triggers left and right and bringing in old guys, and you know what I mean. They're making really good business decisions, so I'm excited about that. So hopefully that continues. Hopefully the stalemate works, and that when we do decide to make the offer or pull the trigger, if that happens, it's for a group of players or picks that isn't going to affect us in the future.
I agree with that. Danny, do you have an opinion on your own question?
I was gonna kind of say something else. Like, I got this idea from Freezy about that we should give them like one last offer, like between the two of us, and give them like a week to two to decide, and tell them, if you don't like this offer, final offer, that's it. The store is closed. We're not going to do business anymore. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's dead.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it's dead. I think it would have happened already. And, and for the guys that feel like, I think Keith is one of them, and that he feels like they should make more moves. Look, listen, you got Jalen Brunson. You got the best point guard that you've had here in 40 years. Okay? You got Hartenstein, cheap. You have all your draft capital, and you're able to keep your young core going into the next season. I think that's a stellar offseason. And like I said, I don't think it's about it translating to wins. I think what's more important before you become competitive and contend every year at a championship level is that you have to have respectability. You have to have stability, and you have to show that you can grow within your organization, which looks like that's the path that they're taking, and I'm all down for it, 100%.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, guys, think about it. If we choose to go that route where we don't do the DM trade, Donovan Mitchell trade, and we just keep it what we have, like you said, we brought in a point guard. We won 37 games last year without a point guard, which is why I preach to people that, like, at least we should at least flip the record from last season. In my eyes, I see that happening with Brunson here alone. And then if you get Randall to, get back on his horse, you get improvements, continuous improvement from RJ Barrett, then I think there's no reason why this isn't a playoff team without the Donovan Mitchell trade. And we've seen from teams in the playoffs this season, not just the Nets, but teams in both conferences where they don't have depth on the roster. They have those few superstar players, and they have nothing else. So they flame out early. So we don't want to be one of those teams where, okay, if our two main guys aren't going, we have nobody to, come in off the bench. We have a bench unit. We know, everybody says bench mob, this and that. For the Knicks bench, we have one of the best benches in the league. So if you can keep that intact and flip the record from last season, I see good things going forward.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Like I've said in the past, I'm okay either way. I think the Knicks do need to go get Donovan, but at the right price. But if they don't get Donovan, I'm also okay with that too, because I like our young core that we have here. It may not be the greatest at the moment, but it can develop. And at the worst, you get to see it. Hopefully, if Tibbs plays them, you get to see more of what they have, and then we can really make a decision, a real decision this year. Like, oh, we got one here, or we got to move on from this guy. Unfortunately, wish him the best, but he doesn't fit what we got going forward. Like, this is what I want to see this year, either way. Salute to Sarge. See you, man. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you.
What's up, Sarge? Salute.
Be safe out there. I don't want you to take your hand off the wheel. I don't want you getting into any. I'll put you on mute, so you have to unmute yourself because I heard the air in the background. There was some air. So
yeah, the windows down, blowing out there.
Yeah. You still might be on mute if you can unmute yourself. I don't know if I could do it. Oh, yeah, I think I could. Yeah.
I got to put on my headset.
There you go. You good now. What's going on, buddy?
Morning to all of you. I said morning because I'm in Cali, so, it's always morning for us when you guys.
Oh, man, it's early morning for you. It's nice out there. It's nice and sunny.
This morning.
Nice, 80 degrees. Doing cool, doing good on the 4 or 5. But I had to jump in, man, because I'm hearing some nice dialogue there. Happy birthday, Danny. I know 3 days ago. I guess son is picking up some random habits, slapping laptops, breaking Nintendos. Anyway, I'm gonna rattle here today. But I'm on the DM train, man. I want DM. I get now at the top price, but I'll tell you where I was. I was not for Brunson. I'm still on the fence for that. I really wanted to run with the youth, with IQ and Deuce leading with Rose there helping them out. That was my first plan. But since getting Brunson, I think we've got to make the next step. I don't think Brunson. Yes, it gives us 8 more wins or 10 more wins. I like that. But I don't think our picks are going to manifest in anything great, man. So I'm willing to drop the picks to bring in Donovan Mitchell because it looks like we're looking at not win now, but win within 3 years. With IQ, without bringing Brunson in, I was thinking we're looking, 3 to 5 years. With Brunson in, we're into 3 years. With Donovan Mitchell, we're looking 2 years. So I'm saying those picks are not going to manifest. We have enough youth on the team. We didn't pick anybody this year, and I'm thinking that we wouldn't even pick anybody next year again to add to our young payroll. So I'm saying let's go get a free agent next year if we need to, and just go for the championship, man. That's where I'm at right now.
Okay. I mean, next year is a little funky. We didn't pick anybody this year, but if the Knicks get some picks next year's draft, because people keep hyping it up, I think they will use some of those picks if they have any.
Yeah, buddy.
They will have 10. They will have 10 people on the 25, right? They'll have maybe 12 on the 25.
Yeah,
that's what we have right now, right? That's a rough team, man. That's 2027 championship. It looks like to me.
And I'm gonna cheat a little bit because I want to give somebody else a next opportunity to ask a question to everybody in the panel and get our takes on it. But I just thought about something. What's to stop the Knicks from, going to OKC and telling Sam Presti, listen, we know you've used some of your picks, but you obviously, they had 19 first-round picks in the next however many years, 7 or 8 years. They have less now because they've used some of them and they've traded some, but they also got some back. Sam Presti is a wizard over there. My whole thing is, why don't we talk to OKC and see if maybe there's a couple young players, right? You know what he's trying to do over there. Maybe there's a couple young players that are still under rookie contracts that he doesn't have to worry about paying right now. But maybe and then get me wrong, I don't want to get rid of these guys, but if I could do it that way and it could be lesser, for the Knicks, maybe we could trade, bring OKC into the mix, have them give us a couple picks that we can send to Utah, or they send them directly to Utah, what have you. And maybe we send an Obi or a Quentin Grimes or something like that to OKC. And then maybe, because really Danny Ainge just wants the picks. He can get the picks without having to, worry about paying salaries for other people. I'm sure he'd be happy with that too. Why don't the Knicks look at something like that? That's what I'm curious about.
So who are you targeting?
I'm sorry?
Who are you targeting?
I'm still going for Donovan Mitchell with Utah, but just bringing in OKC and giving them something like a Grimes or an Obi or something like that, and maybe some other youthful person that's on a rookie contract that they don't have to worry about paying for right now, and then maybe they can throw in some picks towards Utah to help us sweeten the deal, so we don't have to come up as much cachet, but they're still getting what they want.
Oh, I hear.
I guess
that could work.
Depends on who you want off the Thunder. If you're gonna make a move like that, I mean, are you looking at a guy like Trey Mann? Like who are you looking at off their roster if you have to make a deal like that?
Honestly, it would probably be somebody that is youthful, has some upside, but not somebody that they really want to get rid of. Because really the key here is it's still all about Donovan Mitchell for the Knicks, right? And then the Knicks still have to make the salaries work. So you still got to send like a Rose or a Fournier to Utah for the money purposes, right? But then they still get their picks. They still can get about 6. Maybe if we get OKC involved, maybe they can get like 7 picks. 4 or 5 from the Knicks and maybe 2 or 3 from OKC. And then OKC would get maybe a Grimes or an Obi and then a Deuce or something like that. And maybe some something that they want that we're okay with. Like, I'll be honest with you, I'd even send Cam. Like, I don't have a problem sending that to OKC, and then OKC has to decide like if they want to keep Cam or not, but they still can get like an Obi or a Grimes out of it as well in order to get something from them, and they figure out a way to make it work. But I think it's easier to send them players that they might be able to use and get the picks that we can send to Utah rather than trying to figure out what Utah really wants, because it's they keep going back and forth. But that's a way to entice, make the deal sweeten and definitely give them at least 6 or 7 picks out of it. And I think Danny Ainge would consider that. I don't know if that's enough, but it should be. If you think you can give Utah the money to match the salary to get Donovan here, and then Danny Ainge still winds up with 6 or 7 picks, and then some of those picks are OKC's picks,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Those picks are a lot more enticing than the Knicks pick.
Here's the thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Here's the thing with the Thunder. The Thunder are tanking next year.
Right.
You're right.
And they have no incentive to go ahead and get into something like that, knowing the crop that's coming out next year. That's going to be paired with Chet. That's going to be paired with Giddey. That's going to be paired with SGA. That's going to be paired with Jalen Williams and the other kid they got from the NBL, Ousmane Dieng. So they have no incentive in getting involved with any of that. It's a good idea, though, because I see what you're saying, that you want a team that has heavy draft capital in order to lessen the blow of the draft capital that we're bringing. It's a great idea. Might want to target somebody else, though. OKC's going to take.
I know it's a little tough, but the only thing that I'm looking at with OKC is even if their plan is to tank, I think they're going to be a pretty decent team. Now, they're not going to go – like, I don't think they're going to be in the – top 5 worst teams next year, because I think they got enough talent that they might surprise. I mean, when Giddey was healthy, they were surprising some teams. So imagine now that you got other pieces, a healthy Giddey. I think OKC could be a little surprising. So I don't know how well they're going to be able to tank.
Well, the only reason why I say that is because if you notice, like SGA, if you notice Giddey and stuff, you notice they only played like 40, 50 games a year, bro.
True.
And that's designed on purpose.
That's a good point.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. What were you? What someone else was going to jump in? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, you good. I was just saying, pretty much the same deal. Like, I feel like OKC's not going to want to take one of those guys because they know that they have a chance to really make them a play-in contender, which they don't want. So I don't know how that will work.
And check this out, Ron. Even if they have a good season, like you're insinuating that might happen, right? They have enough draft capital to move up.
They still do, yeah.
That they do. That's not a lie. That's true.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, John? What do you think? Maybe not. Okay. Well, yeah, it's a good point though. So I mean, I just thought OKC, because I know they're the biggest. They have the most draft capital of any of these teams. But do you think that maybe the Knicks should think about that, like, outside of the realm of the desperate Lakers and something? Go to another team that might have some draft capital and see if they could figure it out that way. I don't even know if the Knicks want to do all that work, because I would think they would have already done it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in agreement with D. I don't think OKC is going to want to take on that sort of role this year. But if there's a team that's willing to lose on some of their picks, or willing to trade off some of their picks for, let's say, an OB or another one of our players, then I expect that team to come to the Knicks and not the Knicks looking for that move. Right. You know what I mean? So I think if there's any team, maybe it's a Cleveland, maybe it's someone else who may have a need at a position. Maybe they'll join the conversation around potentially trading in a 3-team deal with the Utah Jazz. But if that's not the case, I think we're staying packed unless someone on our front office decides to pull the trigger on and sort of, I don't know, figure out that Danny Ainge is not going to get exactly what he wants, and he lowers his price. You know what I mean? If he lowers the price, then I think the Knicks will play ball.
Go ahead, my bad.
No, I was just laughing at Agent Super Argo. Salute to you. Appreciate you. OKC is like, don't get us involved with that nonsense.
For real.
What were you going to say, D?
I was going to say, what is a deal that would be more acceptable? If Knicks
before
play
we jump
chess
on that,
and they stand patient and they wait, what would be an acceptable deal?
Actually, before you go
What were
there,
you gonna say, Sarge?
before you go, I'm gonna say I wondered if maybe Leon is like, I'm not gonna try to give this guy 7 or 8 draft picks. You know, it's like a tech bubble, you know, or the housing bubble, you know, where we want this is a draft pick bubble right now in this trade, and let's not keep that going by giving this guy 7, 8 picks, even if it's not gonna cost us as much. It could be that mentality of if you take that next step to give him 7, 8 picks, where we're gonna go next.
That's true too. That's true
he's
too. Because
gonna-
even if it's not all coming from the Knicks, it still sets a
Right.
precedent that a guy like Donovan Mitchell gets this. So now,
Exactly.
what is this guy like? I see where you're going. That's an interesting
So
point
our
too.
next move is gonna be, oh, you gave them 8 picks of Mitchell. We won 10 picks plus we won the felt for him, and we want some of the,
Right.
want these World of Hoops to change his channel to, you know, something. You know what I'm trying to say?
That's a good point. Yeah, that's true. Because the other thing is, you also kind of don't want to give in to Ainge, and you don't want other people to kind of think this is the way business is done going forward. Yeah, because this is a little crazy.
Exactly.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Oh, real quick, we have 138 watching and only have 37 likes. Let's get those likes up, guys.
Oh, come on, man! I know. I'm gonna hunt you down, man. You know I'll come hunt you down.
Sarge, don't do it to him, man. Don't do it to him.
Hit those likes, man.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you. So to what you were saying, D. I don't know, man. Now I'm kind of, because Sarge brought up a good point. You know, and I'm thinking as a Knicks fan, I'm not desperate, but I really want Donovan Mitchell on the team. And if I can still get him without having to give up as much, I'm okay with it. But then I'm thinking it's a good point, like the precedent that you set. And then now, you know, okay, you get Donovan Mitchell in here, but we know Donovan is not enough for the Knicks to win a championship. They have to build with him. And then hopefully you want to get another player down the line, maybe not this year, maybe next year or something like that. But how are you going to be able to do that now that you set this precedent with Ainge? Like, how are you going to be able to? That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Really good point.
And shout out to the NBA, because the Kevin Durant, they see like Minnesota, like Danny won the battle, but he's not winning the war so far in this. And that he won the battle in getting and fleecing Minnesota, but other teams didn't follow suit. And you saw that with the Kevin Durant thing, you're seeing that with the Kyrie Irving thing, you're seeing that with the Donovan Mitchell thing. Teams are not gonna go ahead and do that, because I don't care what inflation has done to this country. 5 or 6 draft picks is 5 or 6 years of losing out on draft picks. And if you guys fall down to injury or you struggle a year or two, you are going to be biting yourself in the butt for years for giving up those draft picks. For a guy, I'm sorry, he's not Luka, bro. And Donovan is a magnificent player in this league, but he's tier 2. He's not Luka. It's not Jokic. It's not Giannis. Those guys I throw out the farm for, because I know I'm going to get longevity with it. I'm not convinced with that with Donovan.
And that's a good point, D, because like I was saying, you know, you can't trade back-to-back years. So let's say you give all those years worth of picks up and team stinks. You cannot trade multiple picks in the consecutive years, so you're stuck with that. Like, it's harder to bargain when you can't just give, okay, let me give you 8 straight years of picks. You can't do that.
Mm-hmm. And you see, and like with the Lakers, it's a little bit different, because even when LeBron is almost 40 years old, he's still a tier 1 guy. Like, so it's a little bit different. We don't have a tier 1 guy to be doing stuff like that, bro. Because if they go ahead and trade Westbrook, let's say they trade Westbrook and they get a good viable piece of there and a healthy Anthony Davis, they're competing next year. They're competing second Western Conference Finals championship if everybody's healthy. So
100%.
Yeah, so different scenario.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Because if you look at the way the Lakers are built, they're built to win today. They're not trying to build over for the next 4 or 5 years. They're trying to get enough stars to come in. Now there's talks of Durant and not Kyrie, right? So like they're trying to figure out a way that they can bolster their team to win today, you know, to win this year, because you know they are a promise a healthy LeBron moving forward. You know what I mean? And AD, right? Because AD is also plagued with injury. So They're just trying to win now. They're trying to find suitors to get rid of some of their, role players and maybe a few picks. Maybe dumping, Westbrook's contract onto another team. So it's a different atmosphere over there in LA, and they built like that, right? They built to have stars out there, where the Knicks haven't really generated a star in 30 plus 40 years. You know what I mean? So we're in a different situation.
Absolutely.
That's very true. Shout out to E. Gibson in the chat. Appreciate you. Dan Marrero, DJ Space Ghost in the building. Appreciate you. And what you said is true, E. Gibson. Yeah, with the TV contract, stuff is going up. So there's going to be a little bit more flexibility as to what teams will be able to spend. And their cap is going to go up a little bit, so they'll be able to take on a little bit more. That's a good thing too. Dan Marrero said Minnesota only did it because they have no option, because they are in a worse spot than New York in getting free agents to come to Minnesota. That's a good point. Not everybody loves the going to Minnesota either. However, the one thing I would say about Minnesota is they've got something to draw people. I mean, they've got Cat, and Anthony Edwards is a beast, and he's just going to be, listen, we're talking about him in a certain way now. Give Anthony Edwards 2 or 3 years, and he might be talked about as one of the best in the league. So we'll see. We'll see what happens over there, but they at least have some interesting pieces.
Yeah.
Because I think Cat's like a 1B. I don't know if he can lead a team by himself like that, even with help, but like if he's the number one. But Anthony Edwards could turn into that one. So they're interesting.
Anthony Edwards screams tier 1 potential.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see it. So
you know what caught me off guard with the Minnesota thing is that why the hell did you give up all those players and all that draft pick for a guy that has played himself out of every playoff series that he's ever been in the 5 or 6 years he's been in the league, bro? That junk don't make no damn sense to me, bro.
And my whole thing is, yes, Almighty Finesse, and salute you, appreciate you, brother. Yes, he is better than RJ. I mean, that's not even a question.
Nobody's arguing that.
Like, that's not even like what? That's a fact. And so salute to Supreme System Lord Chop Low in the building. Appreciate you.
It's good.
What's good, bro? Sarge's back. Okay. I'm just gonna put you on mute again just because I hear that air in the background. Oh, you got it? Okay, cool. Thank you, brother. What I was saying is with regards to Minnesota, just had it, lost it. It's coming back. Oh, yeah. So you bring in Rudy Gobert, right? And I understand the whole thing about bringing in a defensive specialist at the big position so he can cover up for anything. When you get into that lane, it's going to be a tough time for you, right? I see that. My whole thing is, why do you make the trade where you're sending Patrick Beverly out? Wouldn't it? How much better would that team be with what they got, bringing in Rudy Gobert for the for the paint, and still having Patrick Beverly on the perimeter? Like, I don't understand that.
What that tells me, Ron, is this: Minnesota knows kind of what I know, and that's that Cat is not as an elite of a defender as Gobert, and they want Gobert in that paint. They don't want Cat down there. They want Cat out there stretching the floor. So that's the only reason that I could see them making that trade is because they would rather Cat not get exposed on defense, and they have Gobert to pretty much save him. And now they still with giving up Beverly, they do lose that, at least from the point guard position or the guard spot, I guess you could say. But I mean, I guess they're looking at it more so as we need an anchor in the paint, because Cat he's not terrible, but he's not a defender, if we're being honest.
So do we expect him to play a lot more forward this season?
I would.
Exclusively.
I don't see him touching the 5 unless.
How about like when they need rest for Gobert, he'll probably play some center during that part.
Yeah, they do small, which is not even really small, but small ball for them at that point. That would be Cat at center, and then I could see them running that lineup out there.
That makes sense.
And I think a good name. One last thing. A good name to look out for too is Josh Minot. Y'all know I'm a Memphis guy. I think he'll give them some solid minutes this year. he can play between the 2 and 4, but I think they'll run him at the 3 and 4 guarding. And I think if they do that small ball lineup, you'll see him at the power forward position.
Who's that kid? I think he was from Xavier. Jalen McDaniels?
Yeah, they still have the McDaniels brother. He's due for a payday, too.
Mm-hmm. He's improved. And Minnesota has shown one thing. They've shown that they could develop some guys there. And so Josh Minart is definitely interesting. I don't think he'll get minutes to start, but I think we'll definitely see him in the rotation.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and to me, that's another reason why I'm just a little surprised. I understand you're trying to make moves and you see that there's certain things that maybe you're not getting from Cat, and so you went all in with this Rudy Gobert thing. I just don't understand getting rid of Patrick Beverley. I think that's a mistake. I think Patrick Beverley was bringing the best out of these young players. Like the way they were playing defense is part of the reason why they had a nice little run. Maybe it wasn't what Minnesota wanted. Maybe they felt, you know, I mean, they're putting money into the team and they thought they could go a little further with what they did. But I thought they overachieved with what they got over there. And I think Patrick Beverley really, I mean, he changed. Now, maybe the problem is, you know, listen, Patrick Beverley is a little bit much too. These guys that play this type of intense defense and these type of players like Draymond Greens, there's baggage that comes along with these guys. Maybe he wore out his welcome. That could be. But I think he changed the culture over there. And that perimeter defense that some of them guys were playing was great.
And that's a good point, Ron, because like you said, you know, they pretty much they gained a stalwart in the paint, but they lost their guard defender. If you look at their roster now, because me personally, I consider Anthony Edwards a 3. So they don't have a guard who plays defense. Russell, in my opinion, his defense, he's not a defender at all. If you look at the other guys, McLaughlin, you know, G League superstar. I mean, Noel, he's coming on, but he's not really a defender. And they have Austin Rivers, and we've known from his Knicks days that he's not really a defender. So they don't have that elite guard defender anymore, which is gonna, you know, take a hit for him in the playoffs when you have to play teams like Curry, Doncic. Like that's rough.
Yeah. You know, and to veggie back, like that was a great point with Patrick because it's very important to keep your culture pieces because those are the guys that set the precedence every day when you go into the gym, when you're in the locker room, when you're traveling, you know, when you have your own games. Those guys are there constantly and guys' faces making sure they're prepared and ready. And Patrick is very good at that. Was very surprised he was moved.
Yeah, I think it was a great point there. But people say the same about us. When we trade D Rose, they'd be like, "Man, that's like the anchor right there at point guard." We'll have no one over 30, right? If D Rose is gone, they'd be like, "Why would they just go so young, so fast when they could have a real veteran who can really help these guys grow and actually even help Bronson to adjust and how he deals with the younger guys because of what he's been doing?" So they basically say about us, and so their reasoning may be that he served his purpose. We're where we need to be now. Let's move on. But I think it's a great point because I don't know why you don't give up perimeter defense like that, man. I mean, I don't like him personally, but I like his skill set.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, the what you're saying about D Rose. I mean, the only problem with D Rose is the fact that D Rose is not healthy. I mean, if D Rose was healthy, would the Knicks ever want to get rid of him? No. I think most fans would be like, "Yeah, we got to keep D Rose," like because if he's healthy, you know what he brings to the team, and you figure out a way to use that. You'd be worrying about getting rid of other players. But since he's not healthy and you don't get the value of him, and every year that goes by, he gets older and there's more wear and tear on his body, and it's just you're not going to continue to get healthier in life. It's going to be a deterioration. So it is what it is, and unfortunately now he's starting to get thrown into the packages. And I do think that at some point he's going to be. I don't know if he's going to even if the Knicks start the season with him. I don't even know if he'll stay the whole season. Yeah. I think at some point he's going to be out of here. Oh, yeah. So, but anyway, I still love D Rose though. I appreciate everything he's done for the Knicks.
That's really a lot for him.
We're watching film, right? Because I'm a film junkie, and I saw Rose some games last year, and even when he didn't play as well as the year before, it's very hard for me to let go of a guy that could create his own shot. And he's one of the few on the team that could do it. So even if I only get him for 30 or 40 games, I'm cool with that because that's 30 or 40 games of a guy that can get his own shot every freaking night, bro. So that's something that's desperately needed on this team. Now, Jalen came in. He's going to help out with that a little bit as well. But I don't know, man. I'm really against, and especially IQ hasn't shown me that he could do that on a nightly basis. So it's very good just in case IQ slides or he's maintained at a certain level, and or if that's all he is type of thing. I got Rose there to know that when he comes in and plays his 15, 20 minutes, he's going to get up 7 to 9 shots, 10 shots, and he's going to be efficient, and he's going to be getting his own shot. I think it'll be great.
Indeed, think about something that D Rose has been doing ever since he's came to New York this stint is that he's helped these young guys. He's been a mentor ever since he's been here. So it's many reasons as to why you wouldn't want to just reluctantly just get rid of Derrick Rose. I mean, he's been here with these young guys since they've been here for the most part. You know, he's bettered their improvement. You've seen it every year, and just the chemistry that they have on that bench unit. I think that you might want to keep Derrick Rose around, especially when you have guys like Obi who need to prove themselves to get paid. RJ Barrett, if he gets in with him, he needs to get paid. Cam Reddish, I think he can help these guys out. So,
yeah, I'm 100% with exactly what y'all talking about because D Rose to me, he's improved his jump shot. You know, his 3-point shot has gotten better. He can push the floor coming off the bench when he's running with the second group. You know, he gets everyone into the flow of the game. I think it's important that we keep him. If we're able to not to move him, and I know there's talks about him potentially being moved to Washington to play with Gibson. Hopefully that's not the case. I want to see him ride. I want to ride this out with D Rose, and if he gets injured, then so be it.
Yeah,
which he probably will. Not $14 million though. I wouldn't do $14 million.
He's an expiring contract though, so it's not as bad.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. You don't think D Rose deserves $14 million?
What did we give up for Peyton? We just give Taj Gibson, matter of fact.
You know, just considering everything he's gone through, all the injuries, and still being able to play like that, and us knowing in the back of our minds, if he stood healthy, he would have been top 5 guard of all time, possibly, bro. Like, I'm cool with 14 mil for him.
Like you said, how many shot creators do we have? I can only think possibly Randall and Brunson starting lineup. I don't see anybody else.
That's true.
If I was Chicago, I'd give him. If I was Chicago, I'd give him a final 1-year contract for $25 million to thank him. A thank you contract, not an active player contract.
But hopefully that new TV stuff is coming into play. When you
yeah,
give
$25 million. That's a LeBron retirement package right there.
Yeah, did a lot for them, man.
I don't know. I don't know about that one, but hey, listen, hey, I'm rocking with you.
But not us though, not us. I'll be his agent. I'll help his agent give me my 10%.
Well, you know what? Let me do this, guys, because I still want to get this segment up and out of here and give everybody a chance to get one out. No, you good. Yeah, the whole point of this is to give everybody a chance to get a question out that maybe everybody can chime in on, but also it's to spur dialogue and conversation. So this is great. But I'm going to shout out a couple more people I've seen come into the chat. And while I'm doing that, gives you guys a little time to start thinking about, if there's a question you want to ask to everybody in the panel and get their take on it. Shout out once again to Agent Super Argo. Appreciate you. Shout out to yeah, shout out to Incognito. Come on, Ron. I couldn't see that. Come on, man. Oh, you serious? Well, I'm like, Incognito. Damn it. That's really clever. I don't know why I didn't see that at first. I'm bugging. Interesting. Shout out to you, man. Appreciate you as always. Thank you. Oroku Saki is in the building. Shout out to you. Thank you for being here. Brooklyn Butch is in the building. David L is in the building. Zigzag Zagala is in the building. And then last but not least, like no other, Dope Soul Sports Talk in the building. The Queen of Sport. Steph, what's going on, Steph? Appreciate y'all. I mean, you. And if y'all haven't checked out Steph's show, Dope Soul Sports Talk, it is what it is in the namesake. It's dope. She's doing very interesting content. Not only is she giving you, Nick breakdown stuff, she's going to be, once the season starts again, I'm sure she's going to go back into doing her shorts. little breakdowns and stuff about different topics, as well as what's going on in the the games with the Knicks. But she's also kind of giving you a little different perspective. She just recently did a introspective episode in which she had a bunch of different content creators, myself included, talking about our role in the current sports field right now, how we are giving people a lot of information that you would normally find from the big market places like ESPN and other stuff. How we are providing another space for people to get that information. And in some cases, some people just get their information from us. Of course, we do have to get information from other places to talk about it, because we're not in the rooms and covering all this stuff. But the point is, we're giving that type of access to people and being able to talk about it and allowing the people to talk about it with us. So I thought that was a really good episode. I was happy to be on it. Thank you once again, Steph. And I hope to be on others when you do other things of that nature. So keep up the good work and keep doing what you're doing. And also salute to Nothing But Knicks, because you know what? The tree, it just keeps growing. Steph is a big contributor there with the Queen's Court. Now she's got her own show with Dope Soul Sports Talk, and everything just keeps branching off and keeps growing. So it's better for our Knick community. All right.
I'm sorry, Ron. I gotta challenge once again. You're doing this service by saying you give what the other people give. You give more than what the other people give. A lot more, man. Just even like with D down here right now, D's taught me some basketball strategies and stuff that I thought I knew basketball. I'm like, oh no, this young man is teaching me some stuff on basketball. Probably couldn't teach an old dog new tricks. And I'm like, oh, but no, you guys are giving more than what you give what they give and more. So I mean, just love it, man. Thank you.
We're all learning from each other, brother.
Yeah, man, and thank you for that, Sarge. I appreciate it, man. Listen, I'm just what we want to do, and I'm sure John can speak to that as well. Our plan is just to be here talking about the team that we love with the Knicks, being able to interact with everybody, who are fellow fans, and also another thing that we want to do is be able to spotlight other content creators and give them opportunities to plug their platform and have people understand what the type of content they're bringing to the table too, because people did that for us and we want to return the favor. So that's our plan. That's our goal going forward. And I see there was somebody trying to join in. Dan, if you can try to get back in again, we would love to have you on the panel. And salute to Eddie F in the building. Drip Moore's in the building. Appreciate you, man. He is the Knick official barber in my eyes. May 4th is in the building. Thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate y'all. So now that I gave you guys, and Wacko in Brooklyn is here. Salute. G Robinson is in the building. Hey, there you go. Jay Boogie's in the building. He said, happy Saturday. Everybody, hope it's a beautiful day where you're at. And if not, look in the mirror and see your beautiful selves. Only thing better than Still Knick fans is watching Still Knick fans. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Now that's a plug.
There you go.
Right there.
See?
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't even have to do nothing. The love gets shown. Look at that. Thank you, Jay Boogie. So guys, it's time for me to put you on the hot seat now. I gave you a little bit of time to think about a question you might want to ask everybody else. And I'm going to go to you, Sarge, because you're driving.
Oh, man. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh.
So if there's a question that you've been thinking about that you'd like to get everybody's take on, see what people feel about it, what would that be?
Oh, man. See, I'm a rebel, man. I'm a rebel. I like to cause some trouble. I like to start fires. And I like to put some gasoline on top of that. I mean, I'm ready. Who else is ready to just let go Randall right now, put Obi in the starting lineup? I'm sorry, I gotta have that out there. I want to hear the pros and cons for that, because I'm sorry. I like Randall as a player, but he's gotta go. I want to see Obi flourish. I think Obi will do better than Randall. I heard the Obi Randall fight, but you gotta put it out there.
All right. Hey, listen, I know. I see. Hold 1 second. salute to Worldwide L. Peace, bro. Appreciate
Shout out,
you. For those who haven't checked out already, check out For the Love of the Game with Worldwide L and Hard Will. It's another great Nick content show. You know, the conversation is spirited. It's invigorating. No, but it's really fun, and they have some good talks and good panelists and good guests as well. So definitely check them out. For the Love of the Game with the number 4 in the For the Love of the Game. So check them out. So I'm gonna send it over to John first, and then we'll go that way around. But this just points to another thing. And Sherwin, I hope you're still in the chat. Some people just have moved on from Julius. He did enough that people see what they saw from his game. Maybe they're not happy with certain things from that, so certain things with his antics. And, you know, you can't listen. I know you like Julius, but I'm bringing this up not to go at you. I'm just saying, like, for some people have moved on. We're ready to see a different thing with the Knicks. I still like Julius on the team. If he's here, he's here, but he's got to shape up. But I understand when people say they're ready to move on, because sometimes you wear out your welcome, and maybe it's better for him too. We'll see. Hopefully it works out this year. If we don't get Donovan, we're going to need Julius. So I'm hoping for the best. Anyway, John, what do you think about that? Sarge is like, let's go. Julius, get up out of here. Where can we go from here? What do you think?
Yeah, call me an optimist, because I'm probably going to be seen as one. But I'm going to give Randall an opportunity to right the ship. You know what I mean? I think we spoke about this on our last show. You know, he needs to come out, you know, own what he's done. You know what I mean? And sort of get sort of that understanding out there to the fans that, you know, he made a mistake. You know, he's not proud of his actions. He's going to try to right that ship, you know, be better as an individual. He's been seeing some counseling. He has been working on his body, you know, and hopefully his game. And now with Brunson involved, I think he has the right temperament to keep him, you know, on the straight and narrow. You know what I mean? I think Brunson is that type of player to call out players when they're sort of falling out of line or being selfish in their play and their actions. So I'm hoping that comes to reality, and that Randall understands that, you know, in order to help his stock grow, he needs to have a really good season with the Knicks.
Yeah.
So I would say, personally, I'm willing to give him another shot. I think Obi is great. I think he's going to keep learning. I think he still is young enough to keep, you know, pressing. But at some point, if Randall gets his stock up and there's an opportunity for a trade, I think the Knicks will try to move him, because they know that Obi may be their future.
Okay. What do you think, Sam?
So he's basically sharpening the pitchforks, right? So he's trying to, you know, just kick him out. Me personally, I you know, I'm not high on Randall, but I also understand the business side of things. And like John's saying, you know, you've got to let him boost his trade value up regardless. So he's gonna still be here to start the season off just because of that, unless you're just gonna simply sell him at the piss poor level, which nobody wants to do. He's a player that you don't want to sell that low on. So I see them keeping him at least for the first half of the season to boost that trade value up, and then thinking about moving him. If they are comfortable with him, then I mean you have to get rid of somebody else, because as we mentioned, you know, RJ has to get paid. If Cam Reddish pops in and actually gets minutes, he has to get paid. Then next season you have to worry about IQ and Obi getting paid. So I mean,
yeah,
you got a lot to think about there, and you got a lot of guys who need to get their minutes so they can prove themselves worthy of getting these new extensions. So I mean, it's a lot to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
I guess interject on that real quick.
Oh yeah. One second though, Sarge. Dan, I see you backstage. I don't know if this is Dan Marrero or if it's another Dan. If you could, I got this from Worldwide L and Hard Will, because it was a need for it on this show, and I understand it. If it is you, Dan, or whoever you are, whichever Dan you might be, if you could turn your camera on and give me like a thumbs up or something. Don't worry, I'm the only one who can see it. Well, the panelists are the only one who can see it. Okay, cool. All right, I'm gonna get you all up in here. You can turn your camera up. You don't have to have it on if you don't feel comfortable. Let me get you up in here. Boom. Okay, Sarge, go ahead, brother.
Okay, the trade value issue with be that, you know, with Randall. I'm still saying, even if Randall goes back to that 2021 or 2020-2021 season form, I don't think his trade value in the eyes of real basketball scouts and analysts is going to jump that much more. Right now, if you're saying Randall is worth, let's say, 2 first-round picks, if Randall goes back to where he was and everyone sees that he's in good shape and he's in the right situation, Randall can ball. I think he doesn't get more than another second rounder from whoever is going to trade. So the value increase for Randall to keep him 3 more months or whatever it is does not outweigh the need to get Obi in there now to let him run and get the team chemistry going with a running team. So I'm saying, yes, he's at a lower value, but it's not that much lower than what we're going to get in the end, no matter how, unless he starts playing like LeBron, which he's done. So I'm saying trade value is not a big enough issue for me to worry about getting an extra second-round pick or something. It's not going to get another first-round pick, no matter how well he does, unless he does a LeBron type, style change. So I'm saying the trade value should not be in the dialogue. It should just be chemistry. Is he going to work? Whatever. But I'm saying it outweighs bringing up, Obi in right now outweighs trying to get another second-rounder with Randall, then get my team ready to go for a playoff run. Obi getting in 60 to 70 games of, 25 to 30 minutes, and let this team run, man. Let's start moving now.
I'll let you read that and then I'll respond, Ron.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. No. I mean, feel free, Sam. Go ahead, man.
I didn't know if you saw Boogie's thing. That's what I was talking about.
Oh, no, thank you. I was gonna read it right after you commented because I didn't want you to forget your train of thought in response to it. Oh, okay, cool. Good, Sam. Professional.
My dimension's not kicking in yet. It's around the corner, but it's not there.
Dude, listen. I hope it's not, man. You young. I'm sure you're a lot younger than a lot of us in here, man. You should be good. Shout out and salute to the man and the myth, the legend, the closer,
Yes.
Jay Boogie. Thank you. Appreciate the generous super chat. He said you guys got a great conversation going. Thank you for the entertainment that y'all all provide. Thank you, Jay Boogie. As always, it's real quick. I just want to say it's something special about who you are as a person and your character. The super chats are one thing that, we appreciate it. You've done it for a bunch of different shows. You're always lending your time, your voice, and your pockets to these shows to help them out. And I think we all can say that we all appreciate you. You're one of the most special guests that anybody can have, because not only are you someone who contributes with your thoughts and your takes, but your positivity that radiates through you and how you talk to people and how you make people feel is great, man. And I think everybody in the chat appreciates and loves you, and definitely I can't tell you enough about how, when we chop it up in our conversations outside of here, how important it is to me. So thank you once again, Jay Boogie. Thank you for all your support, brother.
Very well said, Ron. Very nice.
Hey, Ron,
Sam, go ahead, brother.
Hey, Ron, I want to go, but you got back to back there. I can't deny you your opportunity to read another one.
Absolutely.
Oh man, listen. I appreciate you, man. Listen, you are young, man. You still remember what you're saying. Like I would have been forgot. Like you come back to me. Salute to Eddie F, man. Appreciate you. He said, I'm doing a Jay Boogie match. Remember paying 10 for a Saturday movie? We good. Saturday movie. We good. Talk about why we love IQ. Okay. I will bring that. I'm gonna star this and we'll bring it back up. And we will get into a little bit of IQ for you. Thank you for the generous super chat, Eddie F. Can't thank you enough, brother. Appreciate you once again. And let me tell you, listen, I don't know how Saturday movie stuff goes where you guys are from, but John will speak to it. We grew up in an area and there was a place called the Commodore. Let me tell you, you could pay $5 and get up in there and watch a twofer.
That's right.
2 movies, man.
That's dope.
And you were able to sneak into the next theater when she was in.
Facts.
I stayed there the entire day.
I can't even tell you. I remember one day I went to go see House Party, and then I went to go see another movie, and I'm like, damn, this is great for $5. What? Anyway, it was $5.50 actually.
Shout out to House Party. That was a great movie.
Facts. I also went to see No Holds Barred in there by myself. You can imagine why I was by myself. Anyway, all right, I'm done. Sam, go ahead, brother.
Actually, I actually don't have any pushback, surprisingly. It's more so, just like more facts as to why. I'm not gonna say get rid of him now, but like I said, I'm in favor of moving Randall. It's just I always thought of it like this. He has the trade kicker, which we still have to keep in mind, the 15%.
True.
Then so you can't just dish him off and not expect some type of catchy coming your way, because that's automatically gonna hit you in the books. Second off, he is an all-star, so I think 1 second rounder is a little bit that's at the very bottom. That's like in the slums. I think we want to try to get at least a first for the man. I mean, he did just make all-star not too long ago. He's still a 20-10 player, regardless of if his percentages dropped. I mean, I think you can get a little bit more for him. So that's why I'm kind of, me and John are the same. We want to kind of ride it out some. So if you do ultimately decide that, yeah, let's go ahead and put Obi as a starting power forward, you then move on from Randall, slide Obi into it. We're not saying that Obi's going to get 13 minutes again this season. He can still get 20 minutes this year. Like you can still give Obi 20 minutes this season, move Randall, recoup, get you some more capital if you want to get some more help. Let's say if we need another wing, trade Randall, get another wing, whatever you need to do that way. And you can clear your hands of Randall long term, because like we said, we have these guys due for extension.
Okay. All right, I see what you're going. D, what do you think about the Julius Randle thing? What's your take on it?
I was going to let Dan go first, but Dan bounced.
Yeah, but Dan, listen, if you want to come back in, appreciate you, man. I know that you might have been having some connection issues, but we'd love to get you back in here. I'm gonna put the link in the chat once again, just in case, because I know when the chat moves up and down, sometimes you lose the link. So I'll put it back out there for you. Go ahead, D.
Yeah, so I'm not so worried so much about Randall and Obi being able to play together at that 4 and distribute the minutes. I'm more concerned about Tom Thibodeau being able to distribute those minutes correctly, and to be able to be a little bit more open-minded and maybe play, Obi in some spot minutes at the 3, because Obi needs minutes.
Yes.
It's just a fact. And, I'm not trying to call out nobody, but, I think Steph was betting about Obi being limited on the chat. And my thing with that is that I haven't seen Obi play consistently 25 minutes a night throughout his career. I don't know what he is. And then when he was playing last year, you did see that you saw different phases in his game that he wasn't showing because of the limited minutes. And one of that was being able to extend at the 3-point line, especially for the wing. He wasn't just shooting quarter threes at the end of the season. He was shooting shots for the bend and the wings and the slots and stuff like that, which was very impressive. He showed last year that his ball handle got a little bit better. He was able to get to certain spots of the floor he wasn't able to in his first year. So I don't know what Obi is before I can say he's limited. So but back to with Randall and Obi, that there's a way that it could coexist. It's up to Tom Thibodeau. It's also up to the front office to mandate to Tom Thibodeau, look, bro, we have a bench. We're deep with these young guys. You have to play them. Okay? You have to play them in spots. They have to play them together. You're going to have to decide what rotations are going to look like on certain nights based on your matchups. He has to figure all that stuff out. So I think there could be a peaceful existence between Randall and Obi, but I think it matters at the end of the day of Tibbs being able to distribute those minutes correctly and the front office mandating Tibbs to distribute those minutes correctly.
100%.
110.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, man. I'm gonna say that I agree with everybody's takes here for all the reasons that you stated. And I'm, as I mentioned before, I think that if we don't get Donovan Mitchell, I think Julius Randle is very important. And I think that as long as you figure out a way to get Obi his minutes, that's important, because I want Obi to continue to develop and show what he can do out there. And there is something to the point where I brought it up before, like whether or not it's hyperbole, whether or not Berman is trying to sell stuff and just put his spin on things. I believe there's truth to the fact that Berman said that Tibbs mentioned that he maybe made a mistake in not giving as many minutes to some of these young players as he could have throughout the season. And I think he saw some of that as to how comfortable, confident they were playing down the stretch. I know they were playing against subpar competition, that the teams weren't that great. And then in some cases, the teams that were out there weren't even playing all their players. But it was the confidence level. It's not like Obi got a chance to play 30 plus minutes and he dropped 15 points and he had 8 rebounds or something. No, Obi had like 30 points, or Obi had 46 points. Like Obi was balling. Like it's not like he was just, oh, okay, we saw a little bit of him and he was out there doing okay. No, he did great in that time. So I'm just thinking that there may be some truth to that Tibbs did see something that he maybe overlooked, because that's the thing about practice. Practice is rigid. It's supposed to be rigid. It's supposed to, have you working on stuff, and you're supposed to you're supposed to push your players, right? Take them to another level, so that way when they get out there in the court, it's much more comfortable. It's actually easier because you're pushing them so hard in practice. And so maybe Tibbs kind of underestimated some of the guys, being that they couldn't pick up things right away the way he wanted them to. He kind of overlooked them a little bit. So that's all I'm saying. But I
to D's point about Tibbs, it's the same argument why D Rose probably shouldn't be on the team, because IQ, Deuce, any other point guard behind Brunson may get hidden. They may not be able to develop as far as getting playing time, in-game playing time, because that's just Tibbs' method. He trusts his veterans, trusts guys he knows, and it's just hard for him to break that habit, which I understand.
Yeah.
The great thing that we do have on our side is that there's another year in the books, right? Another year that Tibbs gets to see Obi's, Obi and IQ's, progression.
Mm-hmm.
And this coming preseason or during the offseason practices, I'm hoping that Coach Tibbs, pays a lot more attention to that, and really tries to figure out what that 8 to 9 man rotation will be this season, because he isn't willing to part ways from that, as we all know. But I think one more year allows him the opportunity to believe or trust, put more trust in those players that he has on his bench. You've seen he gave a little bit more minutes to Grimes last year, so he obviously trusted him in key situations. So I'm hoping that that's the same. That same scenario would happen for Obi and IQ. Will we keep him? That all depends on whether or not we keep him for the start of the season.
It's a good point. Yeah. So hopefully that gave you what you was looking for, Sarge, as about your statement and comment about Julius. Let me go to, so I'm gonna let you know ahead of time. I'm gonna go to Sam, then John, and then D for your questions in that order. But Sam, you up? You got a question you want to ask everybody?
I guess my question would just be, how do you guys really see the rotation situation going? I mean, we've hinted at it, but we brought in some free agents who have to play. So that's going to limit the minutes actually of some of these guys we want to see. So who do you guys see getting moved? Because we know that everybody's not going to be able to play now at this rate. We've got to find a way to create minutes for guys like I've been hinting at with Cam. Sims is probably barely going to sniff the court at this rate. So who do you guys see, being moved around so that all these guys can play?
Great question.
No. Ow.
That's a tough one. You know what?
Yeah, Sarge, it's not tough for me, but
you spoke. I heard the voice. So you up?
Oh yeah. So this is about, again, I think D probably all in probably the same page as I am. I'm actually not opposed to a 10-man rotation because of the fact that we should be pushing that ball so hard. You should be exhausted after 7-8 minutes. If you're not, then you're not playing hard enough. You're standing around watching them pass the ball around you. That's one of my thoughts, which means that we can expand the rotation numbers, which will include more players. Now, I'm gonna answer first what it's probably gonna be like, and then tell you what it really should be like, because I've learned from the best, from like Ron and D, and watch your analysis, and know that You guys got the basketball brains and not the tips mind. Okay,
well, Sarge. First off, thank you for that. Appreciate it a lot. Thank you.
I recognize.
We just look at it and give our opinions about what we see. But what I want you to do is I want you to continue to talk. I see Dan is trying to connect again. Hopefully we can get him back in here. But while you're talking, I'm just going to put up the Knick roster so that people kind of know what we're dealing with here. Continue, Sarge.
Great. So as it's currently constituted, the team is, and it's going to default right now to Brunson. Ideally, I'm going to just say how Tim's going to do. Tim's going to do Brunson, Fournier, RJ, Randall, and Mitch. Off the bench, point guard, he's going to have D Rose, which hurts me. Grimes, hurts me also. Probably Cam, Obi, and Hockenstein, if he does that 10-man rotation, which he may be forced to do that kind of rotation. So that's Tibbs. What it should be, based on my opinion as far as how these guys really gel, it should be Brunson. Ideally should be RJ, and if Cam steps up, it should be Cam at 3, Randall, and of course Mitchell. Although again, I want to switch Randall and Obi, and I do want to switch eventually Mitchell and Ihart. But what it should be is Brunson, Grimes, because of what he's seen, RJ, Randall, Mitchell, and off the bench should be IQ, Fournier, Cam, Obi, and Ihart. And every so often, you got to bring Sims in to bring some disruption. And that's just sad to me because D Rose is going to be sitting there with $14 million being a bench coach, player coach, more bench coach. That's my thoughts.
And do you see Tibbs actually allowing that though? That would be my secondary question to that then.
Now my first rotations was the one I see Tibbs doing. The first one was what Tibbs is going to do, but I think second one was what I should do. The first one is the classic Brunson, Fournier, RJ, Randall, and Mitchell, and then off the bench he's going to have IQ, Grimes, Cam probably, and then Obi and Ihart, and again that's 10 players, which means some of those guys like Cam may get less minutes. I don't know how he's going to bring it down to 8 pieces, but at least for 9. So that's Tibbs' mindset. So the way I said next was, he's probably going to switch out IQ and D Rose though. I'm telling you, he's probably going to put D Rose at point, and now IQ and Grimes going to battle for some time, and then Cam and Obi going to battle for time. And then Ihart will be the backup center. So that's Tibbs' rotation. Again, I think it's a flawed thought process because it's time to let Rose be Rose as far as a mentor, elder statesman, helping them out, but not in that rotation, getting more than, getting 10, 15 minutes of what should be IQ time. And I also even think Deuce time as well, but that's my thought, man. And it has to even say what I'm saying because all these guys deserve time. I think they deserve to be seen.
Yeah.
What do you think, John?
I actually think there's going to be a smaller move before the start of the season. I think the plan is sort of set in stone that they're going to try to move Fournier maybe with another player, and maybe Cam, and maybe IQ, and maybe Grimes. But I think the idea is that they make a move before the season starts in order to not have this problem, or like given the problem that we have with a stacked roster, having the space to be able to play other players that are on the bench, giving them optimal minutes to build their resume and to build their stock. I think that's where we're at right now. So I'm expecting the move to be made, even if we don't go after Donovan Mitchell. So with that said, I think it'll look a little bit clearer once that move is made.
Okay. What do you think, D?
Sam, ask the question again, so I make sure I'm answering it correctly.
So basically, I was saying with like the log jams that we have at different positions, and the free agent signings that we made, those guys have to play. So with the guys that we're bringing back from last season, some guys who we argued for who deserve playing time. How do you see that fitting with the new free agent signings?
Got it. Okay. So allow me to say what I think the lineup should be, starting and bench, and then what it will be. But before I do that, somebody has to go. So somebody has to go, because I'm looking at this roster here. Somebody has to go. And because there's not going to be enough minutes for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but my projected lineup would be Jalen. What I would do. You might call me crazy, but I would do this.
No.
I would go Jalen, Grimes, Barrett, Randall, Mitch. And then my bench, because I'm looking for Evan Fournier to move. I just don't see the room, because this man don't play no damn defense, man. I'm looking at this damn film, bro, and it's just he's slow on the help of recovery. He's slow on the closeouts. He doesn't get back in transition. I just don't see. But knowing scratch everything I just said. Knowing the Knicks is what they're gonna do. It's going to be Jalen Brunson. It's going to be Evan Fournier. It's going to be R.G. Barrett. It's going to be Julius Randle. And it's going to be Mitchell Robinson. And that bench, I don't know what Tibbs is going to do if they keep all these guys. I just don't see him in reality sitting Derrick Rose and having IQ start exclusively at that backup point guard. I don't see that happening.
So, D, you see what I'm hinting at? I'm basically hinting at, guys, that some of these people that y'all want to see play are going to get legit buried. Like, we complained about the 3-4 minutes. It might be some games where you don't see them at all for some stretches. I'm talking like Sims, a guy that you just signed to a new deal, might not even play. Like McBride, he won't even sniff the game day roster at this rate.
Yeah.
Which is every reason why there needs to be a move made before the start of the season. You know what I mean? And it has to involve Fournier. It really does.
Yes.
I know. I agree 1,000,000%, because this is not working. Because then you'll have Rose, and then you'll have Grimes that you have to play. You have to. What are you going to do with Cam? This is tough. Some guys are going to have to go, and I just don't see him rocket this. I don't see a guy like Grimes, right, that had a stellar summer league, starting the season at 5-10 minutes a game. I don't see it. But then at the same time, I don't see this guy Thibodeau sitting Rose. This is tough. They have their work cut out for them. And amidst the chat, I don't think this is a bad roster, so to speak, because there are certain guys, like, for example, for RJ is in the most important year of his life. And if RJ can average an efficient 20 points a game, 19 points a game, I think our stock rises steadily up with that. If Julius Randle is able to give you similar numbers like he did last year, but in a more efficient way, your stock goes up. So I don't think this is a bad team. I just think that Tibbs is going to have his work cut out for him in deciding who's going to play and who's not going to play. And I'm scared to death for these guys, because we know, I just dropped a damn video on it. You know damn well this man don't adapt well. And certain games are going to have to call for certain circumstances. And I don't trust Tom Thibodeau to be able to make that move consistently, correctly, move after move. So I'll wrap it up with this real quick. I think Emmanuel quickly is a guy that could see some time be diminished from him if they keep everything as pat. I think Tibbs would be more comfortable going with Grimes off that bench than with quickly, because D Rose would not be the third string guard, a point guard on this team. I guarantee you on everything I own. So.
I can interject. If history repeats itself, which it generally does, D Rose and Mitch may be, doing some, recovery, some physical therapy. which may then bring the guys in, and then we may be happy we have such a deep bench, but not betting on it. I'm not hoping for it, hoping against it. That's the only thing I want to just throw in there, is that because of the history of their bodies and of D-Rose age, it may not be a problem because D-Rose may have to, and hopefully he will speak up and say, "Hey, coach, I'm not running every night. I'm gonna, I want to be, I want the Kawhi, playing method, play me a game, rest me a game, play me a game, rest me a game."
Yeah,
maybe.
I mean, listen, that's the reason why I wanted to put the roster up so that everybody could take a look at it while you guys are talking, because I don't know if it was 2 weeks ago, maybe I think it was 2 weeks ago, when John and I were talking about it. John, I think I had mentioned to him something about, I don't know, whatever. The point is, he gave me his starting five, and then he gave me the bench. And when he did it, I was like, okay. And then as someone in the chat had put, whoa, you guys didn't even mention Quickly. So we went through 10 players and we didn't even talk about Quickly. I was like, this is a problem. I was like, this is I didn't look at it until when he said that, I was like, oh boy, we in trouble.
And Cam has to play this year because he's on his 4th year of his rookie contract.
That's what I'm saying, guys. Like, people like Cam have to play. And Ron, you hinted at earlier, with Charlotte's show, when she had Ferran on there, he was basically saying that, Cam has the most potential. Like, he hinted at it out of the 3 guys from Duke. Like, he really did hint at that. And he said that he's not really so sure why people talk about the low motor thing with Cam, because he's putting in the work. So, I mean, I think it's just opportunity with him, because it's kind of hard for any guy in the league, potential or not, to show you a consistent amount of output when he's only getting 10 minutes at most a game. So 8 to 10 minutes is kind of hard to really give you much out there on the court.
Yeah.
Not to mention players know. Like, players in the league, they know who are the guys who to look out for. They know their skill level. They played up against them. They know what they bring, what they provide. There's a reason why LA is looking at Cam for a potential trade. Like, the kid's got the skill sets to become a number 1 player, but it's whether or not he can put it all together and get the minutes.
Yeah, I agree. And listen, the video clip I played, the audio clip I played a while ago on the show, just talking about Donovan Mitchell, when he gave his 2 cents on Jalen Brunson. He was like, this guy can go. Like, to John's point, players know what players got it and can do some special things. And I know the Lakers, I mean, they're desperate right now. They need to retool and revamp what they got, because that window is closing quick on them. But a guy like LeBron, he knows if LeBron jumped out the window, which I still think was poor of him at that time when he did it. If he jumped out the window and said the Knicks made a mistake taking Ntilikina when they should have took Dennis Smith Jr., I mean, listen, the Dennis Smith Jr. is no Cam Reddish. If Cam Reddish is healthy and you give Cam Reddish minutes, Cam Reddish is a bucket.
And we saw flashes of it.
Yeah, you've heard stories about what he can do. We just haven't seen it. But the players know that he's got it in him. So, and you put him up, like, you put a guy like Cam Reddish on the Lakers, put some, some other pieces around too that can help fill out that roster. LeBron might help bring out the best in Cam. You never know.
See, another thing too is that if you look at the league, right, you don't see a lot of short lineups. You see small ball, but they're guys that are with long wingspans that are perimeter defenders and stuff like that. I think, I'm a maniac, and what I would do is that I would start Jalen, I would start RJ at the 2, I put him back at his rightful position. I would start Cam at the 3. I got to see what Cam is, bro. Okay, and if I have to throw him into the fire and force him to see it, I will do so. And I need longer guys out there. I have to appear longer and bigger out there, especially for Jalen. Okay, and that's what I would do. And then I could go ahead and just sub in my shooters and stuff like that and have that mesh work, because Jalen Brunson will be playing 35, 36 minutes a game this season, without a doubt.
And that helps defensively for the rotations off of, like, when they do the pick and rolls and have Randall sort of in between. that length allows him to be more active. You know what I mean? To be more aggressive and be more handsy, as we've seen in the summer league. Like the team was very hands on. Like they were out there. They were putting their hands out there. They were being aggressive to the ball. That allows that because you have that length. You know, and then Mitchell, of course, Robinson, you know, right there in the middle. So
I was just going to say, D, that's exactly what I would do. That's what I would want to do, what I would be looking for, because I think that people complain or are concerned that the Knicks don't have enough perimeter shooting to begin with now, as is. But if you do that type of lineup, it's a different brand of basketball that you're putting out there. And then you start to sprinkle in your perimeter shooters as you go along throughout the game, because people need breathers, need breaks, and you can change things up. That's exactly what I would do. And in that case, I think that's where the rub is a little bit, because if you're doing that, I think this is where you got to get, and it sucks. You just have to find a different alternative. This is where Fournier becomes a problem, because I don't know how Fournier fits coming in off the bench in that scenario. I just do it because it's my team. I could, you know, Thibodeau, I could do whatever I want. If I feel like you're better served coming off the bench, I don't care if you're getting 18 million, 19 million. I need you coming off the bench. You know, I think that that's where it's going to be a little iffy between the front office and Tibbs. If he wanted to roll something out there like that, could he do it? And that's the other thing about your lineup that you mentioned. That works fine right now. Now, if we get Donovan Mitchell, that's different. Then you have to figure out something, you know, something else. And then Cam he gets relegated back to the bench because now
he might not even be in the team, though. That's the thing. If you get
right. If he's here, right. Correct.
You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
I will have nightmares of a 6-1 backcourt. No, literally.
I know you will.
In September, like when training camp starts, right? The nightmares they're going to become more frequent and they become more gruesome and nightmarish, because I'm sorry, man. I can't think of an era of basketball where you can make that work.
I'm just not really comprehending either, like, why, as a team, like, they understand that we need wings, and we continuously push RJ and try to mold him into this small forward when he's a shooting guard. I don't understand why. I mean, he can play the three, but it's like we're forcing that to be his sole position, when I personally don't think that's what it is. I think if you have a Cam Reddish right there, a guy who's actually able to guard threes and fours potentially, but threes mainly, and he's shown you that he can, you know, create his own shot. He's another guy who can create his own shot on the team, and he's a good defender. I'd rather him and RJ run, because at least, you know, if they're switching, that it's not a drop-off. But like we already talked about, even the front office knows if they start Fournier, it's a drop-off badly on defense. You can't, I mean, and then you got another season of RJ Barrett guarding the best player, exerting all his energy, and then he has nothing on offense to give you.
Yeah. And then another thing too is that I don't care about the shooting, bro. I swear to God, I do not care. I care about a defensive identity being implemented because you need it. And to go anywhere in this league, you got to take care of yourself defensively first. There's a lot of teams out there that can run and gun, and they don't make it far. I don't care about that. I need this to be a defensive culture, identity, ideology, philosophy, whatever. It has to be that first. The shooting will come. Cam shot 46% from the corner last season, bro. Not the season with the Knicks, but the year before with Atlanta. Okay. RJ Barrett, when he was the shooting guard, shot 40% almost from three. Was it 40% or was it almost?
Right there.
I think it was 41.
Yeah.
I think it was 41.
So RJ can shoot the basketball, bro. It's just a matter. I think what happened with RJ was that he was learning how to shoot the basketball with the ball constantly in his hand. Right. And that's different than just sitting out in that corner in transition waiting for that catch and shoot. It's a totally different animal. So I believe, listen, if shooting is going to be a problem, then Jalen, get all the guys together like you said you were going to do, which I believe he is going to do, and start getting your guys shooting up. Start shooting 500 to 800 shots every session that you guys get together. And make sure a lot of them are in catch and shoot situations, because Jalen Brunson will be your orchestrator. So that's what the frig I would do. Okay. And I'll get Hartenstein, right? I'll get Grimes, right? I'll take Deuce, right? I'll take him too. And everybody's going to learn how to friggin' shoot.
Facts.
It's not a bad idea, man. Not a bad idea.
Got to throw up 1,000 in the offseason. You got to throw them up daily. 1,000 jump shots. You got to throw those up, man.
Yeah.
Every session.
Yep.
So they go every day, right? Good. Every session. That's what I did to my young 11, 12-year-olds. Coach, I ain't shooting no 600 shots today. Yeah, you are if you're going to make this damn roster.
So, that's a fact. I
guess you ain't playing for my team, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
You better shoot them shots and shoot them free throws. Those are keys. Those are keys. Shout out to Bangs and Aces live and direct. Appreciate you, Jean Chirel or Chirel. Appreciate you as always. Thank you for tuning in. Looking good, doing it. And for whatever reason, every time I see your name, and thank you, appreciate you showing up and showing your love, man. It reminds me of Trading Places. I don't know why. It's at the end of the movie when they've already, did their thing and they're on the, they're on the beach, and they're like feeling good, and I don't know, for whatever, looking good, doing it always reminds me of that. I don't know why. Listen, I'm a movie buff, but sometimes I get in my own head. Don't think about me. It's cool. I'm all right. Anyway, Infamous New King is in the building. What's good? B. Willis is in the building. Salute. Sango Waldron is in the building. Thank you. Jet Life for Life is in the building. We need Spida. Maybe we do. Maybe. Ken is in the building.
Okay.
Why is Obi listed 193 pounds on your board when he is 220? I don't know, man. I grabbed that from ESPN. Listen, don't shoot me. And let me tell you, let me throw something out there for you for real quick. By the way, I haven't noticed it this year because I'm not paying attention, but I can tell you last year it was pretty wild. I remember me and John were doing the show and we were looking at ESPN stuff. And these dudes, when you look at the roster of teams, they had dudes that were like retired. I'm like, why are these guys still on the roster? It was some wild stuff going on at ESPN with some of them rosters. I don't get it, but whatever. Yeah, man. So actually, that I think that Sam, I hope we answered your question.
Yeah, you're good.
All right.
Quick thought in there real quick before we move on.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
The league average for 3-point shooting is what, like about 36%?
36% last season, yeah.
Yep.
And 2-point shooting is in the high 40s?
It's about 47, 46, something like that.
Okay. So let's say we becoming an elite 2-point shooting team and not worry about having 3-point snipers. So that means we average 5 out of every 10 drives, we average 5 2-pointers, which is 10 points, or we average 3 to maybe almost 4 3-pointers every 10 drives, which means it's almost a break even with a maybe a slight edge towards a 2-point shot, which also means there'll be 2 less misses for the other team to get a chance to go back and get a score. Dismissing a 2-point shot and saying we need snipers is actually does not compute when you look at the math. So I'm saying stop looking for these 3-point snipers and let's develop the DeRozan style game and just hit a lot of 2-pointers, a lot of dunks, all this mid-range. And once in a while hit a 3-pointer, but let's not depend on the 3-point shot. But then go back on defense and stop people and also give them another shot to get 2 more shots with a 3-point shot. Shoot 30%, you're only getting three baskets, you have 7 misses. 7 times those guys can go back and score. You shoot 50% from 2, 5 misses, 5 chances to go back and score. You need less stops on defense for the 2-point shooting because you're more efficient. So the math actually works out to be a better fundamentally sound team at 2-point than trying to be this new high-flying 3-point game.
Look at you.
That out there.
Look at you living up to your name, Wisdom, a.k.a. The Wiz, breaking it down. See, let me tell you right now. That's what I'm talking about. But this is what I've been preaching for a minute, but nobody's buying into because the league has changed. I love the 2-point shot. I love the mid-range, my thing, man. And I like the fact of being able to be more consistent at taking high-quality 2s than worrying about getting caught up in 3s. And honestly, I think any team, if you focus on your defense and you focus on, taking quality 2-point shots, mid-range and inside in the paint, I think you will be very successful in the league and you might have a chance to win a championship with the right pieces. The only problem is there's one caveat. You run into one team and only one, when you really think about it, it's only one team that can defeat you and destroy that plan, and that is the Golden State Warriors.
Yes!
Oh my
Yes! Listen,
I know.
hold on, guys. Peace and love, family. Peace and love. Listen, I've been talking about this same exact thing since 2018. Since 2018, we've been talking about this, discussing it. Like, the brand of basketball that we're currently watching of three-point jumpers is disgusting. If you go back 10, 15 years ago, there's only a difference in 4 percentage points that three-point accuracy has increased. It's bad basketball. You mean to tell me that you can shoot 20 more three-pointers from what they were doing 15 years ago to now, and you only go up 4 more percent? That's preposterous basketball. Yes, the shooters are a little bit better than what they were, but everybody is building this brand of Spanish pick and roll based off of what Golden State does. Like, no, it's bad basketball. There's only one Steph Curry, and there's a hobo Steph Curry, and his name is Trae Young. Right? Like, we don't have this. We don't have these players like across the league. This is not just Knicks issue. This is across the league. You got a bunch of, and this is why somebody said earlier, not on the show, but people are saying now, like, D'Angelo Russell, what did he say? The NBA is not full of a bunch of basketball players. It's full of a bunch of athletes. You have all these athletes that are now like, oh, I'm not even gonna use my athletic ability. I'm gonna shoot. And it's retarded. It makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. Why are we playing this brand of basketball? Tom Thibodeau has never been a coach of a team that's going to be just jacking up threes all day. So why all of a sudden last year did he do that? It makes no freaking sense. So let me calm down because I'm starting to get frustrated.
Yeah, they got you in the chat. They saying the inside voice in the chat.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This is Evergreen G. If you didn't know.
Oh my God.
And shout out to Evergreen. I kind of blasphemed on him the other day. I was giving him props and definitely salute to him on his beat work. And then I watched the show back because I'm that's what I do. I try to watch the shows back and see if there's stuff I missed or if there's stuff in the chat that I couldn't see because I'm doing the show. And I was shouting him out. I'm like, yeah, when you hear that's the jam, that's not it. That's not the slogan. That's the G, which makes sense because it's Evergreen G. My bad, brother.
Right. No, it's all good. It's all good. I want to add to this Donovan Mitchell stuff. Like, at this point, I don't even want him. Right. I at this point, I'm cool with. Here's my idea. Jalen Brunson starting at the 1. And Emmanuel quickly coming off the bench for him, and using Derrick Rose for longevity of the playoffs as the journeyman 3, the journeyman 3rd point guard, because we know that even if listen, Elfrid Payton was playing 30-something minutes, right? And when Derrick Rose was coming in for that, he was still getting hurt. Right? I mean, we gotta maintain the longevity of Derrick Rose at least to the playoffs, and allowing us to bring him in as the 3rd guy is gonna almost guarantee his safety and longevity. I hate to use the word what do they say it is? Not the minute restriction. What is it? What's the other phrase that they use that everyone hates?
Load management.
Load management. I hate to use the phrase load management, but if there was ever a guy in NBA history outside of Kawhi Leonard that you load manage, it's Derrick freaking Rose. It's got to be. So if your intention is not to move him and Everett Fournier to get to make the money work to get Donovan Mitchell and maybe throw in one young guy and the 4 picks, because that's what I would want to do, then you keep Derrick Rose as that 3rd option, that 3rd option point guard that can still continue to mold these players and say, yo, when playoff time comes, Tom Thibodeau, I'm ready, because I know that Emmanuel quickly is not ready for playoff time. I know that Jalen Brunson is. We look at what he did over in the West. I know he is. You look at what Derrick Rose has done in his playoff history. We know he's ready. So I'm keeping Derrick Rose damn near at an injured reserve. I'm starting RJ. I'm starting Cam because we got to see what we got in him, whether we're going to sign him to a contract or let him go, right? And I'm letting it rock out with Quickly at the 1, Grimes at the 2 off the bench, Evan Fournier at the 3 to help lead and galvanize the youth, Obi Toppin at the 4, and Hartenstein at the 5. And I'm letting it rock. I don't even want Donovan Mitchell at this point. I'm tired of it. My head hurts. I've been screaming about this damn thing for weeks. Everybody keeps talking about the same thing over anymore. I'm done with it. Donovan Mitchell, I'm sorry. I get it. Your dad works over in Queens. Whatever. I don't care. Suck it up and go play with a team that actually doesn't want you. Go play for that team. Period. I don't want him anymore. I'm tired of it. End of rant. I yield the floor.
I'm not gonna lie, Evergreen. That is the most
Very nice, Evergreen.
That is the most piped up I've ever seen Evergreen. I'm not gonna lie.
So on that tip, I'm also tired of the DM talk, but my heart still says, man, I want a New Yorker who loves the New York Knicks to bring us the ring. I said my heart is what's talking, not my head. And that's why I'm still on the DM side right now.
You got him already. His name is Obi Toppin. You got him already.
Oh, okay.
You got him already. See, sometimes you have to really, like, what do they say? Watch what you pray for.
Exactly.
Right? Watch what you pray for. Like, you're getting that. You're getting that right now. But you don't want to see it.
And I want them both. I'm greedy, man. I'm greedy. But I want to.
Yeah, he's here already.
Now. I want to
listen.
Right one more.
I'm a firm believer in the idea of camaraderie through honor with the first team you played for, right? Like, for those of y'all don't know, I served 8 years in the Marine Corps. You can't tell me nothing about the Marine Corps, my love for it. It's the first military branch, and I get it. I'm in the Army now. But if you ask me, I'm going to always tell you, yo, I served in the Marine Corps first. I played for the Knicks first. There's something about the pride and camaraderie that you get from playing for the team that originally saw something in you, right? It's outside of the money. The money doesn't come until later, and it usually doesn't come until people start moving around. Nobody gets paid $60 million on their first contract. It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. So my point is that you get these guys while they're young, and you get these guys when they're primed, ripe, before they get the influence of all the other bullcrap teams and all the things that they're trying to push onto them. And you get them to play with pride, right? Now, I think the pride might be there with Cam Reddish because he's with his buddy. We know the pride is there with Quickly. We know the pride is there with Obi. We could assume the pride is there with Julius Randle because he got paid. We know the pride is there with Mitchell Robinson because he got paid and he broke the Charlie Ward curse. We know the pride is there with Jalen Brunson because he got paid and he's from Jersey. And he knows nothing but New York Knicks basketball outside of his college days and what he did over there. So my point is you maintain what you got with the youth and you continue to build through that. But what happens is people abandon that idea, even though they want to try to build a team like Golden State, but they forget that Golden State built the damn team through the draft. So you want to pick and choose what it is that you're trying to do, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work when you're picking and choosing from way over in Utah, from way down in Orlando, and from way up in Toronto. It doesn't work that way. You got to build the team first, and then once you got that pride and everything established, and we at least having a culture of winning basketball, then you start to leverage, okay, all these players are getting good. They're going to rate more money. Now you make a trade for a superstar. But we're at the baby stage, and we're not ready for Donovan Mitchell yet. It took me a while to think about that because I was all hyped too. New York City, please go easy on me, and let's get our guy, right? But when you go back and you reanalyze it, if you want to do the Golden State thing, then you do it all the way and you build it through the damn draft. End of rant 2.
I completely agree with that last part.
I like
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let them know why you mad, Evergreen. Let them know.
I'm not mad at it. I do think, honestly, when you look at what's going on, if it was up to me, I'm just saying this. I know a lot of Knicks fans, not a lot. No, it probably is a lot. There's a lot of Knicks fans who don't want to hear it. You know, we're split. You know, there's some that want the youth movement. There's some that want to win now, and there's a good amount of Knicks fans who want to win now. They tired. They're ready to see it, and I understand it. I'm in between both, but I'm in between both. So that's the point. I think that we're probably a year early when you think about this, because I really feel like you need to take one more year, this year specifically, to look at who's on this team, what young guys you got that you can really build with. Last year was another learning year for the young guys, but it wasn't a year of development in which they could learn on the court because Tibbs wasn't really using them all that much. This is the year that Tibbs needs to use these guys, and we see who's going to stick and who's not going to stick. Because then you could say next year, okay, well, now we can go get a Donovan Mitchell if he's available or somebody like that, because we got these 3 or 4 guys. These guys are ballers. We can build with these guys. Or we can't get Donovan next year because guess what? These 3 or 4 guys, they not ballers. This ain't going to work. We're going to have to move on from them and bring somebody else in. This is why I think we're a year early. Now, if the Knicks do it, I'm going to rock with it, but I do think we're a year early when it comes to that stuff. And I see your point when what you're saying, Evergreen. You know, your passion is not misplaced. I understand where you're going with it. And thank you.
We just got to start a GoFundMe for him for
and I just think that everything comes at a certain point. Like everybody's ready to push you were pushing the envelope because something's presenting itself in front of us. If the deal works out and you can bring Donovan Mitchell here on a fair deal, then you gotta do it. You owe it to yourself because stars don't always fall in your lap. But if it's one of those things where you're gonna get fleeced just to bring in a Donovan Mitchell when really this team is not ready for him yet, but we want to do it because we want to get him while he's there, right, you might be doing yourself a disservice. I do agree with that. But I like I said, it all depends on how you make the trade happen.
And how many years of
do something, because we already went over the fact that we've got too many players on this team that need to play or need a chance to play so we can see what we actually got. And the other thing is if Cam is still here, the hell are we going to do with Cam? We got to play Cam because Cam is supposed to get money. So it's like Cam really he deserves a shot to play for the Knicks to decide whether they can invest in him or for another team to see him and say, okay, well, Cam is balling. Let's see if we can, because the bottom line is most likely Cam ain't going to be here long term, but the Knicks want to put him out there so you can get him, be able to trade him somewhere, get something back for him. You know what I mean? This business. Let me just get into the chat once again, show a little love, and I also want to read these super chats. Jay Bugsby in the building, appreciate you. Harlem Girl is here. Thank you for tuning in as always. Building Blocks is in the building. Wilson Dang is here. Thank you. John Infante is here. Thank you. First super chat, Mr. Alan Alford. Thank you. Preach it. Brunson, Grimes, RJ, Obi, Mitch. Feeling it. So I guess he liked the lineup that was mentioned earlier. Thank you, Alan. Appreciate your support. And thank you for the generous super chat. And then we also got Big Lou says, good day, brothers. I come on and Evergreen G is going off. Calm down, my military brother. Thank you, Big Lou. Appreciate the generous super chat, man, as always. Yeah, but this is what I'm trying to say. This is what I've said before. I'm not one of those, I have an idea by just being what I see. But I'm sure if you would break it down and look at the statistics of how people play this game, teams play, if you looked at the effectiveness of guys taking high quality 2-point shots and playing strong, solid defense, I'm sure you'll see that is very effective in the league. And only teams like Golden State are the ones who can really follow that blueprint that they're doing to a T, because not only do they have a mix of incredible 3-point shooting, they've got good youth and talent coming up. They've got fantastic defense. They really have it all over there. They're not the blueprint. They're the exception to the norm. And I think if other teams kind of got back to the strategy that we've seen play out in the past that used to work. It worked plenty of times. There's teams that had dynasties playing that way. You'll be very successful. And I think the Knicks can be one of those teams that kind of take it back a little bit. Detroit Pistons could barely score, but they used to shut everybody else down. They changed the there was teams scoring 100 points in some of these games, especially on the West Coast. When you play Detroit, you're lucky if you get out of this scoring 90. It'd be them 80-point games, them low-scoring games. They made you play their way, their brand of basketball. It all depends on how you execute it. Dallas is a great example. Dallas doesn't have a lot of offensive firepower and weapons this past year. They did maybe prior to people getting hurt, but going into the playoffs, they didn't have that. They did all that. That run was based on that defense. So and of course Luka, not downplaying him, but it's Luka. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't every game that you get Reggie Bullock hitting threes. Reggie Bullock's put up some stinkers, but on the defensive end, he was locked down. He was solid.
Dorian Finney-Smith, same thing.
Thank you. That was the name I was looking for. He's another person, played great defense, but he put up some stinkers too. When they got them both going, they were a tough team to beat. But, it was kind of mix and match, whoever you got at the time. So it can be done, man. And if you have the right pieces, you'd be surprised how far you could go. Look at what Dallas did. Look at what Minnesota did.
Yeah.
So,
and another thing too, Zach Lowe was on ESPN the other day, and he had the Knicks as his surprise team in the East this year. I was really shocked that he said that, and he was like, I don't know, but he goes, this is something about, and I think people really underestimate the leadership qualities of Jalen Brown. I really do, and I think just him entering the gym is going to put him in a different place. And I'm saying it's not going to lead to 47-40. I don't think it's going to be something like that. I just think when they go out to Phoenix, when they go out to what do you call that? The Milwaukees, when they go out to the Bostons, we're going to see better competitive games. We're going to see games going down to the wire and then playing competitive basketball throughout. And I think that's going to be very important for this organization moving forward.
I agree with that, D. That I do agree with. Shout out to my guy. What's good? Tech Jones in the building. What's happening, brother? Appreciate you. Good to see you as always.
Hey, real quick, I just want to say this. The only people outside right now wearing fleeces are jack boys and stick-up kids. It's 98 degrees outside, bro. It's hot as hell in the city. And if you think that Leon Rose is a guy that wears fleeces in the summertime, it should be evident right now that we're all mistaken. There's no reason to be getting fleeced right about now. Especially when everyone looks and says, ha ha, why is he? We already know why they wear fleeces in Minnesota. It's cold. We know why they wear fleeces in Minnesota. It's cold. It's not cold right now in New York City. So that's I just wanted to add, that's why I'm done with the Donovan Mitchell idea. That's why I'm done. Peace and love, y'all.
Yeah.
Hey, man. I hear you, Evergreen. I hear you. Salute to Margaret Edwards. Appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in as always, showing the love and support. Thank you. And one more super chat. Thank you, Kerry Cooper. Appreciate the generous super chat. He says, why can't we do both? Play the young guys and win too. I think it's about the lineups. You know what? I think we can play the young guys and win to a certain extent, but you still really evaluating your talent, understanding the pieces, how they fit together. And you got a lot of question marks on this team. I'm going to say it once again. And we've said it in different at different moments. It's been on people's minds, but you got Cam is a question mark if he's here. We got to figure out how to play this guy to see what we really got. And it's really more of a shopping Cam, because I don't think the Knicks look at Cam as a piece that you can depend on at this point, but you need to play him in order to see if you can get some value out of moving him, because I think Cam is going to get moved irregardless, guys. I don't care if Cam balls out, you fall in love with Cam. I don't think Cam is going to show – I don't think he's shown enough consistency for the Knicks to say we're going to max him out too. I don't think they can do it. So that's one, right? Then you got RJ. RJ is in the 4th year. This is proving time for RJ, and he's due money. He's due a max, possibly. And I think the Knicks will be very close to paying him something right there, if not the max, but something very close. And I do think he will have a good year, but he needs to have a good year. He's got to improve his layup making. He's got to improve his free throw percentage, and he's got to improve his overall efficiency on the offense and the defensive end. Julius Randle, he's got to show improve as well. He's got to just go back to find the happy medium between the Julius Randle most improved player and what he did last year. Because even he didn't have a great season last year, but he still put up his numbers, right? So put those numbers up and then give us a little bit more efficiency. Don't shoot 30% from three. Shoot closer to 35%. I don't expect him to shoot 41% like he did in the most improved season. That's an aberration. I looked at his stats throughout the years. I don't think that's him. Okay, fine. And also, keep your head on straight. Understand you're a big piece of the team. Fans believe in you. Believe in us. You know what I mean? That sounds crazy for a player to have to believe in the fans. But yeah, believe in that there's fans out there that love you for who you are and want to see you succeed on the team. So go out there and play basketball, right? Then, outside of that, you got Obi deserving to get more minutes so we can see if Obi can take his game to the next level. You got IQ, who's stepping into a realm of becoming a better all-around type point guard. We saw him play better on the defensive end. We've talked about it all year. Then towards the end of the season, we saw him be a better distributor, triple doubles. He averaged, I think in the second half of the season, somewhere around 4 or 5 rebounds from the point guard slot, around 4, I think. And I'm talking only the second half of the season, not his overall numbers. And then you also looked at one of the big issues for IQ was his efficiency from one of the wildest spots in his game, shooting. For someone who's such a good shooter, he's very inefficient. He's got to improve on that. So there's all these question marks, right? And then I'd even bring up Grimes. I think Grimes is really the last big question mark. There's 2 more, but I think Grimes is a big one. If Grimes can be an overall better shooter, not as streaky as he is, if he can improve on his overall game, we see him working on his dribble, working on his passing out of dribbles, layup package. He's doing more things. If he brings that to the mix, then Grimes looks like a better version of Alec Burks, better defensively, and maybe he can do what Alec Burks can do on the offensive end, because Alec Burks was a pretty talented player. Say what you will about him as a point guard, but overall, very good. And then obviously one more thing, Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson has to give us a little something at different moments on the offensive end. And if he can improve on his free throw shooting, not be a liability, because I do see that if all this other stuff keeps happening, notice how I haven't mentioned Jalen Brunson because I'm not worried about him.
Yeah.
If all this stuff keeps happening, I do see the league turning into a hack-a-Mitch. I do see them doing that and making him the person that has to shoot the free throws and miss big shots for us. So he's got to work on that. I'm not talking about Hartenstein. We got to see what he does, but we pretty much know how he's going to help off the bench. Sims, I'm not talking about Sims because I think Sims is still the odd man out. This is the minutes. Where are they coming from? Okay. So I think there's all those question marks, guys. When you think about all that, that's a lot for the Knicks to figure out. And then once you figure that out this year, maybe you know what you got going forward. But that's a lot. That's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
And I know that was long-winded, but that is how complex this team is. That's all of the question marks we got to think about. It's crazy.
You didn't even mention Deuce.
He said that you didn't mention Deuce.
I know.
Yeah.
I was going to say that with I think the guy this year that's going to have the target on his back and is going to be criticized heavily, whether good or bad, depending on how it goes. It's all on RJ Barrett this year. This is a gigantic year for him. I think the target is on him like it was on Randall last year. RJ is really going to have to show us something. It is not about the points per game, bro. It's about, can he be more of a complete player for the 34 minutes he's going to play? Can he play on both sides of the floor? And can he show more in his offensive game consistently? Because he has shown flashes of it consistently, of being able to score in different ways.
Right. I agree with that. And I'm sorry to say it, I didn't forget about Deuce. I'm just not really thinking about Deuce. I'm sorry. And I've said it before, Deuce was one of my he's my second favorite player on the team, behind RJ, which is crazy because he hasn't really done anything for me to be like, oh, I love this guy. But you know what I mean? Like, I just don't see where Deuce is going to get the minutes. We're trying to figure out how IQ is going to get the minutes with what we're talking about. Right? Where's Deuce coming in? You know what I mean? And IQ deserves it. So yeah, that being said, I want to get to John. And who knew that this topic? I mean, this little ask a question. See how much it develops stuff for us to think about and talk about. Shout out to Exo Sports Talk, appreciate you, and shout out to Andy N. Thank you, brother, as always, for being tuned in and supporting. John, what do you think? Do you have a question that you might have for everybody? I don't know how much time we got with you. I know you're a busy man. You got some kids.
Yeah. I'm about to be heading out in a few, but what I was curious to know, and we're gonna shift gears a little bit. And what I wanted to ask the panel is, what was that moment for each of you as Knicks fans that made you say, "Damn, this is the team that I'm riding with. This is the team that I have to go, continue, just being a fan of." I know there were moments as growing up as a kid, I watched, Patrick Ewing in the Mark Jackson era. So I grew up during that era, and just seeing sort of the fights that they had, like the tough games that they had against the Chicago Bulls, the Indiana Pacers, like that to me was what drove me to the Knicks. My dad wasn't really a basketball fan, right? He boxed for a living, but his thing was, it was a New York guy, so he would have the games on. So I would watch, and I fell in love with that sort of core team. What was it for you guys growing up that kept you involved with the Knicks?
Okay, I'm gonna go to Evergreen and then Sarge, because you guys are both driving. Give you guys first dibs.
All right. So mine officially, obviously being from the Bronx, like we watch basketball all day, but like we watched everybody. People in my neighborhood, we in the Soundview section of Bronx, we watched everybody. So it wasn't just like a always Knicks thing. But I officially got my attachment to the Knicks when we got Steve Francis, and then when we got Tracy McGrady. And those just so happen to be my two favorite players of all time. And I get it. I know that they're when we got them, they were all injured and beat up, and there was all kind of allegations about Steve Francis, and Tracy McGrady was back injury. But the fact that both of my favorite players, who had previously been traded for each other, right, with the Orlando Houston deal, both managed to come to my city and play for my team at one point in time, I was hooked ever since then, right? And then obviously when we would later on grab Carmelo Anthony, when Carmelo Anthony was drafted, I want to say it was 02-03, that season I was already heavily hooked onto basketball. So once we got Carmelo Anthony, that really sealed the deal for me.
That works. Nice. That works. Makes sense. What do you think, Sarge?
I don't know if you guys can pull out your abacus and your history books, but 1976.
Ooh, man, that's a year before I was thought about, man. Or maybe I was thought about, but
I don't think I was thought about.
They were working on you. They were working their way to get at you. Man, my first basketball game, MSG. So the Garden itself pulled me because he drove by the Garden. And I went to my first Knicks game. And you guys have no idea who this guy is, most of you. Lonnie Shelton hit the game-winning shot that night. And I've never seen a game-winning shot ever. I was just like, this is crazy. The Garden went crazy and it exploded. And this is right, of course, still at our boy, Earl the Pearl. We still had Frazier. By the way, my mom loves, that's just George Frazier. Walt Frazier. She was in love with him. Just like that, because he was stylish, he was good looking. He had the flair. So I was like, oh, I'm a mama's boy. So I'm like, okay, I think I'm gonna like those guys. Then when I felt that Garden vibration and Lonnie Shelton that game-winning shot, they walked off, I was like, oh, this is great. But I didn't fall in love until Bernard King came, and I was like, that guy can shoot from anywhere. It was such a smooth, sweet shot, and to close the deal, I'm Jamaican. We drafted Patrick Ewing, the captain. And it was over after that. I was like, okay, man, Lakers are beautiful, that man, Lakers are
Okay. See,
I think
I hear you,
Dolan
man.
Dolan
and the
had his eyes
wipe
out.
was
He wasn't
calling,
talking about Pat.
Y'all let me catch it. But Bernard and Patrick was the deal closer. That's it for me. Done. Over.
Oh, so once we got Patrick, that's it. You was on cloud nine.
There we go. Yard man, Jamaican man, right there. Eating some curry goat and some, jerk chicken in Brooklyn. And I met him a couple of times. So I was like, okay, I'm a Knicks fan for life.
Dope.
Yes.
Sam.
Well, I hate to be a downer, but unfortunately for me, guys, I wasn't born until the year of 2000, so I didn't have the pleasure of watching the good Knicks years besides the 2-3 years with Melo. So for me, it was, during the struggling times because I actually grew up. So I grew up in Atlanta, so I watched the Hawks actually first. That was the team because that was the team in the area. So I grew up like Joe Johnson was my idol being a little kid because he was that guy in Atlanta for a very long time. And I just happened to see them live, and I saw the Knicks come to play, and I was like, man, they've got the team was pretty rough back then, but they still had Jamal Crawford and Nate Robinson that year. So, I looked and I was really interested in watching Crawford, just what he could do. Cause growing up, I was a smaller guy. So I was a point guard, shooting guard before I hit my growth spurt. So like, I used to really be interested in Jamal Crawford and just the way he played the game of basketball. And then I watched Nate Robinson win the slam dunk contest, and I was like, yeah, this is a team that I want to be a fan of. Keep in mind, the Hawks were very good during this time, so I could have easily been a Hawks fan, but the Knicks is just the team that intrigued me more. So that's just pretty much how things started for me. And I'm not gonna lie, it's been rough, especially in school dealing with all these bandwagon Heat and Warriors fans who just pretty much I've been getting the beat down mentally or verbally for the past over a decade now. But I mean, it's on the come up. That one year we did make the playoffs, I was finally able to talk a little bit of trash myself. So we're in there for the long haul with the Knicks.
Yeah, that's dope. What and just to Sarge, I never saw Lonnie Shelton play, but I've heard of the name, so I understand that he must have been doing something for these Knicks. Go ahead, D.
For the sake of the nostalgia train, the 90s, it was just I was already like, what was it, 9, something like that, and just growing up in that atmosphere. My dad was like crazy fanatic with it. He'd have the towel, he'll hook up the whole room of Knicks stuff, and it's not like it was today. Like that it was ghetto as hell looking, but that's what he loved. And I was blessed. First of all, the 90s is one of the best decades in the history of time. First of all,
but
for everything. But
it's my graduation year.
There you
High
go.
School.
Right. Yeah, I would think it was like 98 or something like that. But just being around that competitive atmosphere year after year, going into seasons knowing, we're gonna make the Eastern Conference Finals this year. Like, that type of conversation, I think was beautiful to be around. And it's sad the drop off that has happened because, growing up at that time, it was like every day was like, every season was like, yo, we could win it this year. Yo, we got the team. And we got robbed out of a couple of things in that process. But, those were the days. And I really hope this front office is committing to that and really trying to have something that could last for a decade. And that would be fantastic. But yeah, for the sake of nostalgia train, thanks.
Nah, it's dope. Shout out to King Poppy. He said, to me, it has to be my father. Rest in peace. And rest in peace to your dad. But just watching his loyalty to one team, his grind and love for it was amazing. You can't ever get that feeling back forever. A Knickerbocker. That's dope. That's the dope statement. And once again, shout out to you and and the love for your father and your father's love for that Knick team, man. That's good that he passed that down to you and you can keep it going, man. That's great. That's a fantastic moment. I would say that, once again, I think I was pretty fortunate. Like, I was young, but when I really started loving the game of basketball and all this stuff I was seeing was in the 90s. That's when I really understood what I was witnessing. Prior to me getting into basketball in the 90s, like I had started watching the Mets in 86. Listen, I'm not a bandwagon guy, but I'm a little kid, and the first time I saw them playing baseball, they happened to have a good team. So it happened to be 86. They won the championship. So I was in love with the Mets ever since. I'm like, wow, this is great. And then I've been through all the bad years, right? So I'm real. And then 86 and 87, it was the Giants, and I became a big Giant fan. And then obviously, same thing. It's fortunate. The timing was just perfect. I was a little kid, and my teams were good. But I really wasn't, I'll be honest, I wasn't watching a lot of basketball. I was kind of into the baseball thing and then into football. And then as we got into the 90s, I started to pay attention to basketball more, I guess because I was getting older and now I was playing it. I was a late bloomer with playing it. So then that's when I got into the Knicks, right in the beginning of the 90s. And once again, just so happened to be the 90s was a good time for the Knicks, man. You say what you will. They were there. They were fighting. You were proud of them Knicks. So, yeah, I think that's kind of the thing for me. It was just that 90s flow. As the 90s was great for me. Music was fantastic. My teams were all doing good. I mean, you couldn't tell me nothing, man. So, yeah, that was the time. And also, let me see here. I just had shout out to D-Raz. And also want to give another shout out to D Public Enemy #1 and Paris Duggar. They are lighting up the chat. Back and forth is great, guys. Thank you for putting your 2 cents and all your great takes in the chat. And salute to Frank Matos. Used to call me Sasso, but all right, I'm not gonna get it. Y'all ain't ready for all that, man. Let me back up. Anyway, Knicks, Mets, and Giants. Yeah, that's my 3 teams, man. Yeah, I know. And for a lot of people, it's Knicks, and that's
and you got to trickle in a little bit of Rangers, right?
Yeah, probably a little Rangers in there too. But the one thing I always find is very interesting that more Knicks aren't Met fans and more Met fans aren't Knicks fans because of the color. I don't know. Maybe the color scheme. I always thought they went together, but there's a lot of Knicks Yankee fans. Nothing wrong with it. I just thought those colors would always fit, but whatever.
But doesn't Mets fit the Nets and fit the Jets? Mets, Jets.
I know people always say that too, but I always associated it with the colors of the teams. But you're right. There's a lot of Met Jet fans too. Yeah, I don't know. It's a wild thing. Well, New York sports is interesting.
Knicks, Giants, Yankees, in the reverse order.
Right.
Yankees, man. Gotta go Yankees. Come on, man.
It's weird. It's weird because sometimes I always wear like Knick colors from time to time. But then when I for whatever reason, I see the Met logo and I want to barf.
Oh man. Oh, see, that's the fun. That's the one thing about New York and New Yorkers that we have. I mean, we have so many different sports teams in our area that we can pull from, and that's why we have so many different fans. And the dynamic is crazy here. But it's a fun time, man. It's always fun, especially when all the teams are doing good because the camaraderie is good. Even if we all go back and forth with each other, there's a mutual respect there. I don't think the hate that we used to have for each other is the same anymore. I think we're in a better place now because back in the day, the hate was real. I used to hate Yankee fans. But anyway, okay, all right. I don't want to go there, man, because it's too much agina. It's all up in the throat. I'm good. Anyway, yeah, man. But salute to Yakuba Arise. Thank you, appreciate you. Ron, that just like me, Mets was my first love, then Jets. Now Knicks my #1. All right, that's dope. That's dope. So outside of that stuff, man, and this is great stuff. We get to D's World of Hoops.
Yes.
D, it's your turn. Your time for your question. What is it?
I had a good one. I'll keep it short too. What are your expectations for this year? What are you looking as far as win total? What are you looking for out of development for the guys? Are guys going to stay? Is Cam and RJ going to make it past their rookie contracts? Stuff like that. What are your guys' expectations?
Okay, let's see if we can get Dan, because Dan has been, and I appreciate you, man. He's been fighting all show to get in here, but it's been going up and down. Whatever we can get from you, Dan. Hopefully we can hear you and you can hear us and everything's good.
It's all good. We've just been running around. My wife had to start calling and needed my help, so.
Oh, okay.
Family first.
Oh yeah. But
And Dan, are you Dan Marrero?
yes.
Oh, all right. Dope.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Yeah.
you. Great to see you.
I'm originally from YO. You know, I'm living in North Carolina now, but you know,
you're another one of these Knicks in North Carolina.
Smart, man.
Got a lot
cheap
of
out there, man.
But hey, I'm an electrician with the union. They offered me a job with the railroad down here, so I came.
Why not? Yeah, dude. So what is your expectations to D's question? What's your expectations for this year with these New York Knicks?
I think that even with the trade or without the trade, we're going to be a high play-in team regardless. You know, I think that's where we're going to sit. So it's tough because if you trade away everything, you're trying to build back that chemistry, and that's what's going to hurt. So regardless, we're 2 years away from seeing anything substantial. So that's what I feel about that. And with Randall, I feel that he can get back to form. It's just he needs to realize that regardless of what's going on around him, if he leaves it on the court, the fans are going to have his back. You know, and
that's real.
And the real fans will have his back against the stupid fans, because you're always going to have the stupid fans wherever you go. But real quick, just to go back real quick, my real moment for being a Knicks fan, I grew up, you know, I was taught to be loyal, but through the 90s, I grew up into it. But I think my real moment that I was like, I can't do it, regardless if they're horrible or not, is when Melo waited for KG by the bus.
Oh, you mean when when KG offered him some Honey Nut Cheerios?
Yeah.
I'm saying it. That's out of context. It's not. If you know, you know. Listen, that was KG was kind of wild with his mouth.
Yeah, and you know, I appreciated what Melo did, because you know, and that's another thing about having New Yorkers on the team, because they have that New York state of mind, and they're gonna know. So, you know, that's why I think that Donovan Mitchell, I don't agree with giving all what they're trying to get for him, but I do think having him and Brunson, because they're both from New York, and I think they're going to help the ones that are not get around the nonsense and learn how not to get caught up in the city as well, outside of the game.
That's a good point. Yeah, man. That's
so you said you had them high playing, like around that 9, 10, something like that.
I think we could get even as high as 7. Depend, you know, with or without the trade. I think if Donovan comes, I honestly think we could get as high as 6. But I think that without him, we could get as high as 7 if we're playing right, because we lost a lot of games that we should have won last year.
That's true. It's you know what, I think and I'm going to let everybody else speak, but I just wanted to throw this out there real quick. I think one of the things that is concerning to a lot of people is just how good this Eastern Conference is becoming, and it's going to be better this year all around. But you know what? Listen, one thing we have noticed is that if the Knicks play smart basketball and buy into what Thibodeau is preaching, Thibodeau does give them something that he's focused on that these other teams may not be doing in the same way. When Thibodeau's defense is right, it impacts, you know, change on the court. And so if the Knicks buy into the defense and we have enough pieces that can orchestrate something, and the offense is going pretty good and the principles look good, I don't see why the Knicks can't be still better than what we thought. And make their dent. Maybe they're better than some of these other teams that got better in the East because of their defensive principles. Because having a coach like Thibodeau, say what you will about his stubbornness, about his poor rotations and things of that nature, and maybe some of the offense stuff that he doesn't know how to put out there. On the defense, when he feels he's got adequate pieces and they buy in, the Knicks ball, you see some stuff. I mean, look at the Summer League team. I know it's Summer League, but just the way they were coming at teams, if the big club can do that, it should be interesting. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, so let me do it with I'll go to Sam. I would go to Sarge here. Let me go to Sam on what your expectation is for this season.
So me, I'm kind of the mindset of thinking without the Donovan Mitchell acquisition because it hasn't happened yet. So as is right now, if we're going off of what we have, like I said earlier, I see the record being flipped. 45 and 37, I think, is a solid number, because you'll actually have a point guard now. You won't be forcing a guy in Burks to man the offense, and I think Brunson does a solid job of commanding the offense when he has the reins. So I'm confident in that, barring no injuries, barring Randall's mental state, him coming back to form, barring RJ Barrett taking another leap, and the lead man in charge, Coach Tibbs, actually, putting together a solid rotation and making adjustments because, as we all know, he's really struggles with that very badly. I mean, not being able to break down the 2-3 zone against the Orlando Magic it still gives me nightmares every time I think about it. We did not beat that team last year, which is pretty sad in my opinion. So, if we can make those adjustments, and I think we flip the record, I think that could potentially get us to the last play-in spot. But I'm not, unless those leaps happen. I see the play-in at most. If I'm gonna be honest here, I'm not gonna be too optimistic because these teams at the top of the East are pretty elite in different areas. So,
Agreed. John, what do you think?
I think I'm right there along with Sam, man. Every team has gotten better in the East. We're going to see a lot of stiff competition. For me, I'm not going to jump out the window. I'm going to know the ledge. I'm not going to jump off of it. And I'm going to stick to say we win about 6 more games than we did last year to bring us to like 42 wins. 43. And potentially, 43, potentially become a sort of play-in team, and then go from there. That's my thoughts. Yeah. And then as far as development, I think that you're going to see a lot of these players develop. I do expect to see, like I said earlier, a move to be made for like Fournier and being moved with maybe 1 or 2 other pieces. And then I would see that opportunity lends itself to players potentially like Grimes getting an opportunity to play more minutes, or Cam, depending on who we keep. But I do see that.
Yeah. Shout out to Nick Yak in the building, and also Neville Humphreys. Appreciate you guys. Salute to y'all. What do you think, Sarge?
Okay, so mine's gonna be based on no Donovan Mitchell, right? That's what we're going right now. I'm actually seeing us keeping the team packed, bringing up Farron Hunt, and probably adding just one other guy as a 15 player. We're gonna actually start off really strong. We're gonna shock some teams. So we're going to end up being a high 40s, possibly a 50-win team, as is. But mid-season, we're going to let Fournier go because I really believe Tibbs is going to somehow, with Brunson there on his back, is going to come to the recognition that the youth are better without interference. Rose will sit or be traded by mid-season. Fournier will definitely be gone by mid-season. Cam's going to manifest into what he should be. RJ and Randy are going to develop more efficiency. And Sam Martin's going to play my boy Obi 20 minutes plus a game. Mitchell, I predict, may lose a spot with Hartenstein starting. And we're going to end up with 40 to 50 wins, 6 spots, make it past the first round, never get crushed in the second round.
So, Sergeant, you must, and I'm trolling, obviously, but you must have enlisted Tibbs in therapy for this whole summer because I just really,
I try to figure out how do I put Tibbs on come to Jesus moment. How's it gonna be? Is he gonna be taking some maybe testosterone or something? Or is he gonna get more youthful? Is he gonna get like a brain transplant? Something's gonna happen, but something's gonna switch. Something has switched, I think. Also knowing his limitation, his time is short. He doesn't do well this year. I think he's going to recognize the limitations and he's going to realize, you know what, I don't know it all. I have to look for help. I have to find out how do I make this team better, and I don't have all the answers. I think Tim's going to come to that recognition. He may have actually come to it already and make that switch. And that's I'm being optimistic, but I think it's possible, and I'm hoping that will happen. So that's why I'm basing it on that hope of Tibbs recognizing his limitations and reaching out for help, getting his assistants involved and making the right moves. Looking to the right once in a while and going, Ryder needs rest? Okay, rest him. Get him out there. And distributing responsibilities properly, like a true coach, a true leader would do. That's what I'm basing it on.
Got it.
Okay.
So what's the record?
He said
48
40
to
to
50
50
wins, 6th place. Make it to the first. Make it past the first round after the play-in.
Best case scenario.
That's the best case scenario, and that's without even Donovan.
I don't think they've won a series but once since I've been alive, and that's what was that year with Melo? We went to the second round and got demolished. Yeah,
that hurts. That hurts.
You got to swing some of that optimistic juice around, bro.
Yes, I'm trying.
Yeah, we all need that. Take that in our everyday lives, man. Yeah, that's good stuff. So before we get out of here, Dan, I mean, I want to give you a shot if there was a question or anything you were thinking about that you wanted to pass around to the panel. I know you've been struggling to get in here with everything going on. Was there anything you wanted to get the panel's take on?
Ron, you didn't say yours.
I mean, mine is the whole show. I've been throwing stuff out all show.
The only question that I have that I've been thinking about myself is now that Jalen Brown is a little disgruntled about getting tossed into the KD situation, would he be available instead of Donovan Mitchell? I think that he would fit better for us if we could get Boston to trade him to us, even though that probably won't be likely.
Well, I will say that I think Knicks fans all around would love to get Jalen Brown on this New York Knicks team. I think the biggest problem there is, Boston is just on another level than we are, or any of the teams that we might be able to get involved in trying to facilitate something. They just don't want anything from us or whoever else we'd be dealing with. They are ready to win now. And if they trade in Jalen Brown, they want to bring in a Kevin Durant or someone they know they can plug right in, and this person is going to ball, and we're going to win a championship most likely if we bring him in.
I think that's why we could have gave them the picks in order to go get KD, to help them facilitate that trade. But it's a lot of things that, I was thinking about because he's already upset and they couldn't facilitate it by themselves. And I also think that us just reaching out to them about that would help us with Ainge and kind of force his hand.
That's interesting. But you know what? That's okay. Now I see where you're coming from. That's interesting. If you're saying us being a willing partner in facilitating the deal with the Nets and Boston, the only question is we don't know where the Nets are right now. It's like, what do they want to do? Are they trying to tear it up and rebuild? Are they trying to go forward now, and still go all in? Because up until what happened this year, you look like the Nets were ready to go all in to win a championship. They were putting stuff together. You had Harden, you got rid of Harden, you've got Kyrie, you've got Durant, then you're bringing in Ben Simmons. You look like you're ready to win now. Like you're moving now. All of a sudden, this stuff is happening. Are they ready to tear it down and build it back up, or are they still trying to be a contender? Because if they're trying to be a contender, don't they want Jalen Brown rather than what we can give them? Now, if they're trying to tear it down and build it back up, then maybe, picks and some other players that they can kind of grow with but aren't really, top notch at this moment, they'll be okay with having, because they're in more of like not a tank, but you know what I mean? They're building it back up. I can see that working, but I think you really got to know what Brooklyn's trying to do.
Because, and from what I was reading,
because that's the caveat. We don't know what they're trying to do.
And from what I was reading, they're kind of stuck in between trying to still compete and tanking, because they wanted a whole bunch of stuff besides Jalen Brown from the Celtics. They wanted picks and all the stuff that the Celtics didn't have. So they wanted Jalen Brown to still compete, but at the same time, they're looking for the picks to try to rebuild. So,
actually, I think if the Nets going to trade KD, they got to trade for they would want Jalen back, or they're going to trade both KD and Kyrie, which would mean that maybe we could do a 4-way deal and bring the Lakers in, and we do all that kind of rotation where Kyrie goes to the Lakers, KD goes to Boston, Jalen comes here. They kind of tank with our picks, and we do a 4-way deal. That's the only possibility. But like I said, Ron, they wouldn't do a deal without just doing KD alone, without getting somebody to fill his spot. So they may have to go all the way. Just if you're gonna drop KD, drop Kyrie also, and let's go all the way.
Would you be willing? I know I would. I know people get mad at me, but would you be willing to throw RJ in the deal to Boston for Jalen?
Yesterday.
No.
I'm sorry. Was that too fast? I meant, last week. I'll come to. I'm in LA. I'll fly to New York right now. I'll help. I'll help him pack up.
He's got the pitchforks ready. I mean, goodness. RJ like that.
My thing is that
playing.
My thing is that why not wait to 2024?
True. I mean, I'm okay with that too. But right now,
the only thing with me is that you try to pick the fruit while it's ripe. You don't know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And RJ, for me, RJ, the only problem is he hasn't shown that he's great at one certain thing.
That's true.
That's very
That
true.
is true.
That's my only concern. He hasn't shown that he's great at one certain thing. So, you might as well, in a sense, pick the fruit while it's ripe, and throw him in a trade for Jalen Brown and picks, and Jalen Brown will go right to where he was.
The only thing.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say this real quick, and you can go deep. The only thing I would say is, don't you kind of owe it to RJ to see, like, a trade like this doesn't seem like a trade you can make now. I think you would have to play the season a little bit and see what you got going on. Because don't you owe it to a guy like RJ to see what he can do, having a point guard over there where there is a little bit more structure, and now the offense moves better. RJ's in better positions to do his thing, and
good hard, Ron. You got a good hard. Ron, you got a great heart.
Man, because you was talking about RJ, and I was like, yo, come on,
nice
man.
Guy.
And you're at a situation where now he can make better decisions, and he's not forced to facilitate and put himself in situations where you can have these bad turnovers and loss of possessions and stuff like that. Having a guy like Brunson out there, I think, might make RJ better. So I'd love to see at least how that looks for a couple months.
And I agree. Deadline. I don't think a trade like that would happen until the trade deadline anyway, if it did, because they'd want to see, the Celtics would want to see where they're at, and Brooklyn would want to see where they're at, how things are going, and then if not, blow it up. But I think that with RJ, for Jalen Brown, I think I'd be willing to part with RJ. And the way things are, we should give him a chance to see if he could flourish. But at the same time, the way the league is going, it's business on both sides. I don't think the players or the teams are giving each other, any leeway. The players, they want to go, they're going to go. Who's to say if RJ doesn't say, you know what, I want to go back to Toronto. They got a better team. I want to go back home.
That's a good point. That's good. D, you were going to say something?
Oh, yeah. Another thing, too, is that I am not doing dealings with the student of the fleece master.
Oh.
Right.
I'm not doing no business with him, bro.
Yeah.
He learned all the techniques necessary to be the fleece student master. I'm not doing anything with him, bro.
Fellas, I got to run. It's a pleasure. Appreciate all of you. Have a blessed one.
All right, John.
Appreciate you, John.
Appreciate John.
So for me, I'm just coming from the perspective of I just simply don't think we have enough to get it done. And that's just because this guy that we're talking about right now, potentially like being an option for us, he would have been the finals MVP had they won. So I feel like it's going to take a hefty price. And I don't think, I don't think that we're complaining about the Donovan Mitchell price. I don't think it's going to be that far off for a guy like Jalen Brown. So
agreed.
I'm not too sure. And then I don't see the Celtics ever giving us him. if I'm being honest. So
yeah, I don't think it's far fetched. Your
like an
feelings on it.
interdivision trade with a rival, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
And
But
also,
I think if it helped them get KD, they would. But like I said, other than that, no.
and also too, Boston ain't trying to rebuild again, bro.
Right.
And if they go ahead and get somebody for Jalen, it's got to be a caliber of a KD, something of that nature, because they want to instantly get back into the finals picture. They're not looking to build guys anymore. They spent the last 10, 12 years doing that.
Right, right. And guys, I see, we got 115 people here. I think we had around 81 likes or something like that. Smash that like button.
100. Let's get to 100.
Let's get to 100 before we get out of here. I got a couple more minutes, and then I'm gonna wrap up. But before I go, I wanted to kind of just get around to everybody. Any final thoughts? Anything you got? You're thinking about, or if there was something you wanted to say real quick before we get out of here, by all means. Sarge.
Okay, well, I'm going to put on my.
Nope, he put on the exit.
Put on the Rico cap, and I'm gonna. I want anyone who knows where Tibbs is gonna be, where he's gonna be hanging out, where he lives.
What you trying to do over there, Sarge?
I wanna visit him. Talk to him. A nice, deep man-to-man talk. And so if anyone can find out where Tibbs lives or where he hangs out, let me know so I can visit him so we can get the season right. But no matter who we get, bottom Tibbs can destroy it all with just one third pass. Take people 48 minutes and let my youth sit. That's all I gotta say. Is Tibbs needs to come to Jesus moment or whatever you want to say. And you may need some hardcore. Maybe come at him hard and just be like, yo, here's how we're going to play the season next year. I'm watching you. I'll be in sniper range in seat number 625 in the bleachers, and I'll be waiting for you to make the wrong move. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. All right, Sarge. Dan?
I just want to say, a lot of people are upset, but I feel that this is probably the best front office that we've had in decades. So it's been rough. And Tibbs, I'm 50-50 on him, but I also feel that he's undervalued on what he's doing with these young kids. He's showing them how to grind, get out there and earn what they got. So yeah, should they be getting more minutes? Yeah, but at the same time, he sees more than we do behind the scenes. So, that's the only thing I see it as far as that. I feel that we're heading in the right direction, and I'm glad that they're just staying firm and not going crazy trying to get big names in like my Yankees did for years when they were getting Randy Johnson at the end of his career or all these kind of people just to make the fans happy. We want to win. I don't care who the names are. It could be somebody I never heard of as long as we're winning. So
that's a good point. That's a great point. I hear you.
Sam? For me, it's just peace and blessings. I'm able to, come in and stop by today before things ramp up for me. So I'm able to enjoy these weekends. I'll try to join D's show tomorrow if I can. But, weekends for me are pretty open now for the next 2 weeks. So I'm just happy to be able to be on the panel with you guys. As far as this team, I'm going in with the mindset of I'm okay with not doing any star trades. But if the right offer comes, of course. But I'm all right with staying the course. I think that's probably the best option if we're being honest here, unless we're able to get in on a pretty good deal. So I'm just ready to see some more development, and hopefully, for the life of me, we get a coach that's maybe Sarge took him to therapy, so he's changed his whole thought process and things like that, because you guys know my feelings on him. So as long as he does what he's supposed to do, as far as from the coaching perspective, I think the players will play hard for him regardless. So if we see that and we see an inspiring team ready out there fighting, we have one of the younger rosters in the league if we make a couple of moves. So I'm not feeling too bad about this upcoming season, but peace and blessings as always. And hope everybody stays safe out here because it's definitely getting crazy.
It is definitely getting crazy, Sam. Yeah, guys, stay safe. And listen, let me do my little public service announcement real quick before D says what he wants to say. Take care of yourselves out there, man. I think we all got to be mindful. Listen, it's the summertime. We all want to have fun. We were on lockdown before. We wanted to get back to living our lives. It's a little stressful being cooped up in the house, not getting that interaction with people, and it could drive you a little stir crazy and get a little wild. But things have gotten a little loose out there. Once again, the COVID is running rampant, man. You know, people who I know haven't got it since it came out. Now, all of a sudden, everybody's starting to get it. I mean, they did say that eventually we'll all get it at one point or another, but it's starting to happen. So that means it's getting a little loose. So be careful out there. And then definitely, man, we got to be careful and watch ourselves with this whole monkeypox thing, especially those that live in New York, where we're like the epicenter right now. The numbers is growing. So wash your hands. Be careful what you touch. Take sanitizer with you. I mean, listen, it's on handles. It's on everything. People are saying they're getting it. I mean, we work at a check cashing place, getting it from money. Like, it's a lot of stuff. You just be mindful, man. That thing is moving. So that's all I had to say. I just think we need to be very careful with this stuff. Don't take it for granted, because before you know it, then we are stressed out. Like, what the hell is going on? Yeah. D, go ahead, man. My fault, brother.
No, you're good, bro. Question before I go. Do you think Tibbs makes it throughout the season?
I'll answer first. Yes, I think he will make it because of the addition of Jalen Brunson. I think Jalen Brunson brings this Knick team some stability that Tibbs needs. Without Jalen Brunson, I think Tibbs is in the same pattern of behavior that he was in last year, and he might fall back into the same issues that we saw. So I think Jalen Brunson is a big get for the Knicks. You won't see it yet, but once they start playing ball, you're going to see the difference that Jalen Brunson brings and the confidence that Tibbs will have in him, and it's going to work out much better for the Knicks overall. So, yeah, I think that'll make that Jalen Brunson helps Tibbs's longevity with these New York Knicks. Anybody else? Sam?
I'm sorry. What was the?
You think Tibbs makes it this season?
Oh, you know my thoughts on you know my thoughts on it. I gave the guy a whole nickname, so that alone should say how I feel about him. But I honestly think I would like to think, like what Sergeant's saying, that he's went to therapy and that he's changed his ways, but we all know that's not going to be true to a certain point. So,
Sergeant's saying that with a shotgun to his
face. He's talking about having the sniper. I'm not expecting too much of a change from him, but something would be nice. You know, with having a point guard, you'd think that something would change. So I like to hope, but I'm honestly seeing him getting fired if it does come down to that point of us being that bad, because of the simple fact that the front office doesn't want to join him jobless. So if it comes down to that point, I think that they will eventually fire him. But I'd like to see him finally make some adjustments and save his life or save his career.
Good luck, Chuck.
I see what you did there, Sam.
Yeah, pun intended.
What do you think, Dan?
Honestly, I think it's going to boil down to one simple thing, and that's holding Julius Randle accountable. I think if he holds Julius Randle accountable like he holds everybody else, and the team starts to gel, there's no way they get rid of him. But I think that if he starts letting Julius go off like he did last year and do his little rants and not holding him accountable, then he might be gone.
It's a very good point, because one thing that Tibbs did not do well last year was manage the roster well. He did not at all. And he lost that team probably midway into the season, which is unacceptable for a coach of his caliber to even have that happen.
And I think it was mostly because of Randle. I don't think it was because of anything else but Randle. Because they were probably getting upset, like, you're not holding him accountable for that, but you're yelling at me for the crazy stuff. So, like Obi getting pulled for, something dumb when Randle's got a leash a mile long to make 50 million mistakes. So I think that's the biggest thing. It's gonna be that relationship with him and Randle, see how everything goes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my thing with that is that I think, Tibbs has had a history of acquiescing to his stars, and he will fully acquiesce to Jalen Brunson. Not just because they acquired him, it's because he's family. He will acquiesce. And I think it kind of takes the focus off Randall now, where I don't think that might not even come into play. Because if there's going to be a battle going on with Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson about who's top dog, I guarantee on everything I own, Jalen Brunson will win that battle.
Well, and real quick, I also think too, I don't know if Jalen Brunson is going to go in there wanting to be top dog per se. He just wants to run the team. But I know that he's going to call out Julius Randle, with his stupidity. And then I think that's where we're going to see how, like you said, how he manages it. And, of course, Brunson, he's family. So is Julius Randle going to crawl up in the corner, start crying because he feels he's not getting his way, or is he going to man up and just put it all on the court and play?
That's a good point. And shout out to William. Thank you for joining in the show. And I know you put your question in. Will Cam Reddish play? That's a question I kind of think we sort of touched on in a way that it's should he play? Yes, but he should play because we want to see what he's got, and if we need to move him as a business decision, he should play. Will he? Don't know.
Yeah.
And
to answer my own question, I think Tibbs stays, and I think he will never be fired. I think what he will do, if anything, he will be assigned to somewhere differently within the Knicks organization in some form of capacity.
Unfortunately,
I think that's how that's going to work. And
I can definitely see that.
And I can definitely see, and it might not be about Tibbs not being able to it might not be a thing about that. I think they might just all agree that let's do a different direction. Let's get a little bit more youthful coaching in there. And I think Rick Brunson is a serious contender for that.
You took my answer right out of my mouth. There you go, dude. That's the answer right there. It's Tibbs will make through the season because Rick Brunson will hold him accountable. The Brunson, I think, is more important than Jalen is Rick, who's going to hold him and said, yo, I'm going to speak up every time he gets a chance to. And he's going to be able to go right to a man-to-man. Everybody else on the staff right now for Thibodeau is about, defers to him and kind of, respects him out of respect, out of fear, whatever it is. I think Rick's going to walk in there with zero fear and won't bite his tongue. And Thibodeau has no option but to change or create a battle, among the coaching staff. And so he will make it through the season, most likely, move to the front office or some other position in administration. End of the season, Rick takes over more than likely the following season.
And Sarge, I agree with you because Rick's been with him for how long, he knows how to address him and be like, yo, Tibbs, you're out of line. You need to do this. And they have that relationship where it's mutual respect. So it won't be, egos being thrown around because they're already family.
Agreed.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a very good point, guys. Both of you. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's true. And shout out to D Public Enemy #1. He said the weight crime is up in the city. I'm indoors. Monkeypox, COVID, polio, too much. Yeah, I agree with that. So, once again, everybody stay safe. Be careful out there. Don't take it for granted. Life is too short these days, man. And the crime thing, it's almost like we back in the 80s, man. It's getting wild. It's like a wild, wild west. So definitely be careful out there. And one last statement I wanted to put out there. Salute to you, Felicia Lee, in the chat. Thank you for tuning in. She had said Tibbs called out RJ in the press for not practicing his shot, but no accountability with Randall's antics. Very true. Very true.
He actually acquiesces to his stars. That's right.
Yeah, and another thing. Once again, I also think that was kind of like how you want to phrase it, like a PR move. Tibbs called out the guy he knew he could call out. He called out RJ because he knew RJ is a professional. RJ can take it. RJ's not going to make a big stink of it, but it also looks like, hey, I'm holding somebody accountable. That was all. Let me tell you, my feeling. That's my conspiracy theory on that one. He called out the guy who he knew wasn't going to make a big deal that he called him out. That's my opinion, but whatever. Anyway, thank you guys for all being here. I want to give a special shout out once again to everybody on the panel: Sam, Sarge, Dan, D. John was in the building. Danny Landis, coming off the birthday love, was in the building. I think I got everybody. I don't know if there was anybody else I missed that might have jumped on. Did I get everybody? Am I missing anybody?
Evergreen's right.
Evergreen, right?
Oh, Evergreen G. That's right. That's the G.
Yo,
See, I
shout
got it
out
right,
to
Evergreen.
Tibbs is listening in the chat. Tibbs is listening, but he didn't come in.
Yeah, right.
He's listening to us right now.
So thank you once again to everybody. Salute to the chat. Appreciate all y'all. The chat was buzzing. Y'all did a great job of having your own conversation and keep things going. Thank you. Thank you to new people who may have jumped in that I haven't seen before, at least on the Saturday show. Appreciate all of y'all. All I can say, guys, is this is going to be a road that we're going to have to figure out what happens, man. We're going to go through it and see what happens. I hope for the best. But I do think that the Knicks will be better than they were last year. I think they're going to make up for some of those really silly mistakes, man. That poor third quarter basketball that we saw. You can't. All those games they came out with leads, and the third quarter just blew up. Oh man, it's horrible. Shout out to Josh, aka Uncle Fulio. I see you. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for tuning in. And anybody who may have just tuned in, feel free to watch the replay. I know it's a long show, 3 hours, but there was some really good stuff in this show. And I'm just happy to be here with all you guys chopping it up. As I like to say, tell a friend who tells a friend who tells another friend. Still Knicks fans. We'll be back again. Stay tuned for our Monday night show. I believe, Monday night show should be pretty fun. We got Jonathan Macri from Knicks Film School, so that should be a pretty good show. And I can't wait to chop it up with him once again. So thank you guys as always. Thank you, Ron, for being here, guys. Appreciate y'all. Dan, I'm happy you were able to get it right. We got to see you. That's dope. D, thank you for always being here. Sam,
thank you for having me.
Sarge, appreciate all y'all. I guess we'll catch you on the next one, man. Stay tuned. I hope that something happens with these Knicks, but if nothing happens, don't fall apart, man. We got a pretty good team, and the roster is a lot better than people think, man. If Thibodeau uses them right, and we do some interesting things on offense, some of the stuff we saw in the summer league was pretty interesting. If they institute that stuff, you'd be surprised at how far this team could go if they buy in and Thibodeau is willing to expand his rotation a little bit and look at what he's got out there. It's a big if, but I'm hoping we're at that point now because I mean, at some point you got to learn from your mistakes. Come on. I don't care how much of a veteran you are.
You'd be surprised, man. You'd be surprised. I think the big thing with this year is that I think what got me excited for this year with the team presently as it is, I don't think there's a circus this year.
Yes.
And I'm really looking forward to not seeing the circus act.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Listen, that we need some stability and some smart basketball play from all avenues. Coaching, players, everything. It's all got to be smarter. We got to be a real team. We're a real team, okay? We got to be a real team and stop being the laughing stock. All these mainstream media, they like to use this as the punchline. You know what? Instead of, being the punchline, let's punch back. Let's play good ball. Let's have them looking at us. Oh, man, Knicks are back, man. Or the Knicks are playing really solid ball. You go into Madison Square Garden, you're going to have a tough time. I want to get back to that.
Our players need to take it personal, too.
Yeah, I mean, some of these guys need to get a backbone and start getting mad. I've been dying for Obi to show me something out there. Yep. I mean, I'm not saying he can't be a good player without it, but if I could see Obi get mad one time, come down and just dunk on somebody, listen, I need to see it.
Yep.
All right. Anyway, all right, y'all. Thanks again. Appreciate y'all. We out of here. Great show once again. I appreciate you. Take care. We'll see you on the next one.
Take care.